All right, welcome back for another episode of Tilton the Scales. I'm joined by one of my co-hosts, Chester Bowen, and friend of the show, Jose. Hasn't been on in a while. We haven't been on in a while, the last couple of weeks, just because of schedules getting busy with the families and everything, and the kids doing sports and doing all those things. So let's get caught up real quick. Chet, how's everything been going since you we last spoke?
I think you just threw out the spoiler right there. Exactly what you said. Kids, sports, that's pretty much it. Work is work. Proud of both my kids. Last weekend, Cameron threw, I think, a couple touchdown passes. More importantly, his team won pretty dominant. And then my daughter won her cheer competition with her team. And then the Patriots won. So it's kind of a perfect weekend. So I'm hoping that we can find a way to do something similar this weekend coming
Yeah.
up. But yeah.
You just shit in Jose's bowl of Cheerios, because
I think I did. I think I
his
did.
week was good until last night. But sorry, Jose, go ahead.
Hey,
How's
hey,
everything been, man?
everything's good. Sit down. So my daughter, she got into DPS, so she's gonna go start next month for her training. And then my grandson's back in school doing his thing, sitting down there trying to get him to not get in trouble. So he's doing pretty good for a while. I had a rough week last week though, so But other than that, it was all right. We got there, and then yeah, my week wasn't too bad until to that geriatric bowl last night. So made Joe Flacco look great. You know,
Hey, Joe Flacco, man, he looks so good.
hey, I would say this: both those old guys looked really good,
Mhm.
and it was sad to say. I sat down, but I was thinking to myself, man, how are we making Flacco look so awesome? Like, come on, man, like you know. And then there's a couple plays where he just blew covers. Like, how do you blow cover Jamar Chase? Anybody
Yeah,
else you can let open, but not Jamar Chase.
Yep. Yeah, we'll get into that because there are some
Yeah,
things
so
I want to talk about.
that was kind of brutal to watch, but
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was back and forth. It was a
oh, it was a good
competitive
game.
game.
That was a good
Game.
game, and like I said, it was when Aaron Rodgers threw that touchdown at the end, his last touchdown, I was like, okay, I said, did we score too fast? And I thought, okay, he's going to go to Jamar Chase or the tight end. But he made a nice scramble. That was a nice fake, and the whole defense bit on it. They like Flacco kept the ball. What the hell? And Wait a
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
he hit Higgins, and that was the end of the game right there.
I didn't know statues could scramble.
It wasn't. Trust me, it looked like it was in slow motion. Like I think
Just
that's why
shuffling
everybody was
those.
so shocked. They were like, "What the?" He only got like 5 yards, but they only needed like two. But
Yep.
it
It's
was
just
like
moving with the pocket, moving with
it's
the
like
pocket.
everybody just like nobody saw that coming. It was like so it was pretty rough, but it is what it is. Mike Tomlin doing Mike Tomlin things. He loses the games he's supposed to win. That's what he does. It's what he's done for the last 20 years he's been there. So
Yeah. Nate, what about you? My
what's your
week's been good, man. My week's been good. Spent a lot of time with the grandkids. There, of course, I got the new one, but I've been helping out with the two younger ones or older ones, but just so that mom and dad can kind of catch up on sleep or focus on the little one. So I've been helping with them, and that's been it's been great. They always ask about me when I'm not there. They're like, "Where's G-Paw at? Where's G-Paw?"
Mhm.
So it's always good to go back, and I always show up. Usually, I almost always show up with gifts or something. So little trinkets. I bought the my grandson a Spider-Man mask. I don't know what he's gonna be for Halloween, but just happened to see it at the store and purchased it and got it for him. And then yeah, that's it. Just living life. Livin.
Mhm.
Living life. Love it. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey. All right. Well, let's get into it. Our layup line, we're going to start with obviously the Patriots. This is a pro Boston sports podcast. Sorry, Jose.
Oh, that's fine.
Uh, they're at least
I've actually
interesting.
watched a couple of the Patriots games. I was really impressed. I really was.
Yeah, I hope you were.
I love the way they look. I think really they're tough, they're physical, they're disciplined. So Drake May looks great. You know,
Yep, we didn't
So
get a chance to talk after the Buffalo win. That was obviously huge. I mean, we didn't know until this week that it would put us into first place in the AFC. We weren't anticipating Buffalo losing on Monday night, but we'll take it, of course, just like Pittsburgh will take being in first place and
yeah,
not really beating anybody.
yeah. Our division's in a terrible, terrible state. So
Yeah, but hey, you can only play who's on your
yeah.
schedule, and
Hey,
you
I'm
know,
not going to complain. You know, I sit down. We you know the Lamar Jackson going down helps us. Cleveland being
yeah,
Cleveland, and then you
absolutely.
know, I mean, I was kind of mad that Tomlin was so focused on Flacco getting traded and not focused on getting the team ready. He should have simply said, "I don't care who the quarterback is. We've beaten Flacco when he was in Baltimore. We'll beat him in Cincinnati. It doesn't matter." You know, that should have been his mentality. And I didn't. So, but I watched the last Patriots game. And I was impressed with Drake May. I thought he looked so much more composed this year. He was going through progressions. He wasn't just running to run, which I thought was really
Yeah,
nice. Like,
yeah,
you could tell Bravel's brought that stability to that
yeah,
team.
well, I think again, the although I disagree with the greatness of Josh McDaniels, I do agree that his his presence has created some stability on the offensive side, as well as Mike Vrabel. But I mean, we go into New Orleans after we beat Buffalo, and you expect it's if you want to look at it as a trap game or a letdown, like we went into a division rival, number one team in our division, beat them after they've beaten us probably the last 3 years pretty soundly. And it was a big game, and I expected us. I'm happy that they went into New Orleans and they were super focused. They were dialed in from the beginning. What I did not like, as far as the game's concerned, is Drake May was our leading rusher. Like there is no way. One, we can't survive a season like that. And two, chat through our text threads throughout the week, I've been talking about Josh McDaniels and like how do we have two running backs that have close to 10 carries each. Neither one of them have over 27 yards. You know, like that just for a team to make another leap or for the team that beat Buffalo to the team that played against New Orleans, you'd expect even game management wise some sort of adjustment. If we're not running the ball well, there's an adjustment on the offensive side to create some opportunities to run, especially with Drake May throwing the ball well downfield. Like you'd imagine that things would balance out and it wouldn't be so easy to stop the run because we can pass. Um, so I'm disappointed in that just because of, again, I do have a high hope slash a high opinion of Josh McDaniels, but not as high as my co-host. I feel like his scheme is lacking in creativity, and it's not. He's a product of Drake May's athleticism. When the play breaks down, Drake May makes a play. There's some plays that obviously have been scripted wonderfully, whether it's because the defense made a mistake and just didn't cover a guy. But I just feel like there's a lack of creativity that's kind of holding us back as far as holding us back in a sense. Well, when you look at it, damn, Drake May's he's one of the better, he's a top five quarterback in the NFL right now. So we should be more balanced, and there shouldn't be something on our offense that we cannot do. And definitely there isn't something that New Orleans should be able to shut us down. They're not a good defense. They're not even close to a good defense. I mean, and the flip side of that, our defense is really good at stopping the run. I mean, they held them to under 100 yards as well. Their leading rusher was a running back that only had 33 yards. But I just don't understand how the lack of it feels to me again like the lack of creativity is it could have cost us that game if it wasn't New Orleans. So, but anyway, And again, when you look across the league, you got running backs going down. You got a third stringer going into Sandy or the Chargers' third string running back running for over 100 yards. You know, and their offense isn't any better than ours. And granted, I would say that Miami's defense is better than New Orleans. We could go back and forth about that, but that's who we ran against. Then you see somebody else like Rico Dowdle, a second string quarterback who runs the last 2 weeks. Granted, it was against Miami and Dallas defenses, but he's accounted for almost 500 yards from scrimmage. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that those coordinators are better than Josh McDaniels, but it just seems to me like, you know, if that dude can do it, that team can do it. Those teams who I would say are far insuperior, far less uh, talented than us, at least at the quarterback position and potentially on the offense in general. Like, why are we not getting, you know, a, a at least a chunk yardage on some run plays? And we're just, I don't know. Maybe you can explain it to me, Chet.
Well, I'm going to start. I can try. I'll start with the Buffalo game because I think the best thing that could have happened for the Patriots offense was that Buffalo went ahead in the fourth quarter because everyone watching was like, yep, Patriots put up a good fight. It's almost like everyone gave up and like, yep, the Patriots, they really just, they just, gosh darn it, they just gave it their best shot. And then we come out and show like, hey, no, we're better than that. I was actually more worried about this past week. Like, are we going to go in there and lay an egg? And I will say I think our cornerbacks are okay, but damn, we need to work on our safety position. Spencer Rattler looked amazing against us, especially in key moments. I did not love that. You're right, we shut down the run, but I also think during the trade deadline, love to get an edge rusher. And Nate, I think what's happening right now with I think I understand what's going on with the Josh McDaniels scheme. I think is that they can't trust our starting running back not to fumble. I mean, if you look at the past few weeks, he made some really good runs. He gets in the end zone. He makes a really key, like almost first down, and then he lets the ball go. And those have been momentum changers in the game. So I think they just don't trust it. So they're calling the safest runs possible. Like, let's just do the safest thing we could possibly do. If it breaks down, it breaks down. And we have Drake May. I think, and Nate, the reason I was shaking my head earlier when you said the Josh McDaniels thing, I'm very mad at myself because my whole point of today to come on was to have the visor, just like, just the visor that I forgot. But I think that's what's happening. I think they don't trust the run game. I think if they did, they would run more. They would try some different schemes. But the defense knew ahead of time what our run was going to be, where we were going with it. So we had to use Drake May. We had to use his running ability. But to your point, Nate, I agree. We've got to figure out something better than that. And maybe that comes via trade. Losing Antonio Gibson hurts worse than I think most people understand. I think you understand it, but I think a lot of people don't. So that's kind of what I think. I think they were safe in the run game and put the game on Drake May's shoulders, and he, to his credit, did his job.
Yeah, I mean there weren't too many design runs for him. So what he was getting was again pulling the ball down and getting that running from, pressure and getting some positive yards, which is good. I just again, a coordinator should not live in the world where they don't trust somebody. If they don't trust somebody, he's not on the field. They're getting paid like and I could probably see a world where Ramondre Stevenson is playing a little different or running a little different because of ball security. Then take him off the field. Only put him on if he's a better pass blocker than Travion Henderson. Then only put him on the field to pass block and roll out into coverage potentially. But Henderson's more than capable. So why is he getting? If there's no trust, why does Ramondre have more in that game specifically? Why does Ramondre have more carries than Stevenson or sorry, Henderson?
I
Like
don't trust them
I
either.
don't get that. I
They're
don't
working
get
in
that.
development. But I got to say this when it comes to the Steelers and Bengals game, Jose, because I know that's the Steelers are your boys.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm upset the Bengals won that game, I like that the Bengals won because now it puts the Steelers have the head-to-head tiebreaker right now.
Yeah.
It puts the Steelers and Patriots at that 4-2. So I was like, yes. But then I was like, no, because I held out hope, silly hope maybe, that Hendrickson, we could make a trade. But now
Yeah.
the Bengals won. There's no way they're going to trade him. They're like, oh,
No,
Flacco's
no.
our guy. We're going to wait till Burrow comes back. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah. I will say this, when I look at the Patriots, I think part of it is trust for the coordinator with that running back and the other thing is that I it's going to take when Vrabel was in Tennessee, he built that offensive line up
hmm,
so Derrick Henry could be a star, and so I think it's going to take him another year to get by the end of this year that I think their running game will be better because he's going to keep getting on those guys. Hey, we've got to own the line of scrimmage. We got to own the line of scrimmage. We come November, December, the weather's going to get bad, and if we can't run the ball, so I think it'll be a point of interest. I think right now they're just going to say we're going to put a little more on May's feet, and then you know get these guys to gel a little bit and go from there.
hmm.
But I like what they're doing. Like and it doesn't help that you can't fumble in critical situations. You just can't. It's hard to build that trust. It's hard to commit to something when Um, but yeah, and I thought the Bengals might get rid of Hendrickson, but now that if Flacco can win another game, then they're definitely going to hold on to him.
No doubt.
Um, I will say that when we played the week before against Cleveland, everyone was like, "Oh, we beat Cleveland." I said, "But Cleveland had like 8 drops, and if they catch 4 of those passes, especially early in the game, they're either tied with us or leading the game." And it's like that wasn't as dominant a performance as everybody thought it was, and everybody was like, "Oh, you're always so negative." I said, "It's not that." I said, Cleveland hurt themselves. So now we know it's not Joe Flacco and it's not Dylan Gabriel. It's you can't have 8 drops. I mean, I watched one drive, they dropped 3 straight passes from Gabriel, hit him right in the hands. One of
Yep.
them was like a 30-yard pass, and I was like, if he makes that, they're inside the red zone. They're right at the edge of the red zone. So they're going to definitely get a field goal out of it. And I'm like, and he just dropped it. It's like, so I'm looking, I'm like, you know, we need to fix ourselves defensively because right now our defense is like crap, like doo doo. Our safeties we're out of position. I mean, they lost Jamar Chase like 3 or 4 times last night. If there's one guy on the field you don't lose for Cincinnati's Jamar
Yeah.
Chase. I
Yeah.
just
What was
I
that?
couldn't I couldn't understand. I was like, how I don't care if he's in motion. Somebody's got to be like Jalen Ramsey's like he's with me. I got him. Wherever he goes, if he goes to the bathroom, I'm gonna go shake it for him.
Yeah. Yep. I
That's
agree.
that's how it should have been. And I didn't how you lose him. I'm like, how do you know and so it was one of those things. I sat down, I thought to myself, and then we're blitzing Flacco from the outside, like, dude, we need to drop TJ Watt and him off every once in a while, just pressure him upside and make him move. Flacco's not a great athlete, so make him roll right or left. So it's like I just thought the game plan, but I talked to my son and I said, this is the week for Tomlin to do the Mike Tomlin thing and lose to a team he's supposed to beat. And he's like, Dad, yeah. I said, history is telling us that when we play teams that we're the favorite by more than 3, we're going down. And there it was.
There it was. There it
So,
was.
Flacco looked amazing. I was like, look at this guy, he's just carving us up.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
looked great.
Flacco looked really good. How
He did.
how can a team that in the last 5 years has been the one of the top spenders on defense for a salary cap, how can they what's going on with that, Jose?
Who, the Steelers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Well, here's my problem with it. Um, Again, I go back to Bill Cowher, where he would allow the older guys to leave
Hmm.
because he always wanted the hungry guy. I want a hungry guy. I want, we let Joey Porter leave. We got James Harrison. We James Harrison leave. We got T.J. Watt. We let guys leave, and now we're paying guys. Like to me, I wanted I would have been okay with T.J. Watt getting traded because we could have got some real value for him. You know, I want a hungry guy. I want a young guy. I want Cam Hayward. We paid him. Why? I don't know. He had just signed a contract. We ended up paying him again. Why? I don't get it. Like what's the point of it? Because I love him. He's been a Steeler for a long time, but you're at the end of your run. And to me, you look at Jerome Bettis when he got to the end of his run, Steelers were like, hey, you if you want to stay in Pittsburgh, you got to take a pay cut. And he did. He took a pay cut, got his Super Bowl ring, and he went off into the sunset. Willie
Yeah.
Parker was the guy. He gave up his job and became, that other guy. And that's the way Bill Cowher, that's the way the Steelers were up until Mike Tomlin, where we were like, hey, we love you, but we're not going to overpay for you, and we're not going to keep you hanging around. So I don't like it. I don't. It's nothing against those guys. They were great Steelers. They made some magical moments, but at the end of the day, I want some young blood. I want something fresh. I want something new. I don't. I think Aaron Rodgers worked out a lot better than we thought.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good move. But he can read defenses and everything. But at the same token, he threw two picks that led to 10 points. So I mean,
Yeah.
he's better than what we had. But at the end of the day, are we? Yeah, we were 4-1, but we were 4-1 last year. And how did we end up 9-8, losing in the playoffs? The goal is not to have a winning record. The goal is not to make the playoffs. The goal is to win Super Bowls. And if we're not playing for that, then why are we there? Let's kind of let some guys go and rebuild and make that run. So
Jose, can I ask you a question about the Steelers game, which I just find too funny to let go?
what's that?
Aaron Rodgers, get off my lawn. Like when that offensive tackle was like so excited, he's like running in like Aaron Rodgers is my boy. I'm so excited. Like
Yeah,
he was hungry. He wanted to celebrate that win. And Aaron likes, you know who I am? I'm worth millions.
yeah,
Get the fuck off me. I thought that was very telling about who Aaron Rodgers is as a
yeah.
leader. And I think that's a bigger deal than most people are saying. On national TV, Aaron Rodgers is like, what's your name again?
Yeah,
The
I
guy who
I
walks for
I
me?
I agree with you wholeheartedly in the sense that when things he's good for a year, he's fine. He's not bad for a rental. At the end of the day, he's not the long term answer.
Mhm.
But when you look at when that right there sums up who Aaron Rodgers is, one, and two, it's the reason why he only has one Super Bowl.
Mhm.
It's the
Straight
reason
up.
why he has one ring. That's it. And it's because teammates are like, this guy's not the greatest to be around.
Mhm.
He's got
Yeah.
a lot of talent. He's got good numbers, but at the end of the day, not a good teammate, not a good leader.
Oh,
He's the enigma.
So you can put him in the. I mean, that's one thing with Peyton Manning. He understood his role. He understood, hey, and he was willing to celebrate with team. And that's why when he went to Denver, Denver embraced him. They're like, yep. And he did when he was hot. They went to the Super Bowl. They got beat. Next year he comes back and he's not the same, but he understood his role and he was like, hey, I'm here with you guys, and he was excited to celebrate it with him. And he was you watched him. He was a very good teammate. Very. That's the difference. That's why people love it. Peyton Manning, and they don't really like Aaron Rodgers.
yeah. I mean, I'm
You
telling you
know.
now, if I'm not saying it will, but if Pittsburgh tanks from here on out, that will be the moment that people point to. Like Aaron Rodgers
Yeah.
showed everyone, I'm willing to humiliate one of my teammates
Yeah.
who's trying to celebrate on national TV. I am
Yeah.
willing to do that. That is shit.
Yeah.
I was real. I don't respect that at all.
Well, I,
Yeah, it
I
was
look at
kind
the
of shitty.
guy. Yeah, I look at the guy and I see a guy who he reminds me a lot of LeBron in that when things are good, it's because he's great. When
Mhm.
things are bad, it's because everybody else is a
Everyone
problem.
else sucks. Yeah.
Yep.
And so he's got that LeBron smell on him that
Yeah.
I jump
The
from place to
facade.
place, and then when things aren't going well, I'm going to throw everybody under the bus. But if we win, then it's me because I'm awesome.
Yeah. But that
And
particular moment I'm talking about,
yeah.
that
Oh
was
yeah, yeah.
that
No, I
was
mean, but
after a touchdown.
yeah, but that's the epitome of who he is, and
Yeah. Yep.
but it's not the first time we've seen that. We saw that in Green Bay, and we definitely saw it in New York. So you sit down and you see this and you're like, yeah, I don't, like I said, our quarterback situation has been a mess since Big Ben left.
Yeah,
And I thought Mike Tomlin mismanaged Big Ben. I thought we should have won another Super Bowl with Big Ben. I was glad that he got two, went to three, but I thought that, he should have at least three.
hmm
But, Mike Tomlin mismanaged that. And then ever since Ben left, they just can't get it right. And it's like, I don't foresee it going. I'm still on I don't think Tomlin's the guy. I don't think you know, he's just not that dude. When all Cowher's players left, all those older guys left, his playoff success left,
that's
and his locker room's been a mess. So,
objectively true. Objectively true. All those guys left, and the playoffs left too.
yeah.
That is all true.
So,
So
yeah. So I go ahead.
if you don't think the success that Tomlin has had warrants him still being employed, what do you think about John Harbaugh?
Well, John Harbaugh's what, the second year at San Diego, third year?
No, I'm sorry, his brother, his
Oh,
brother.
John. Well, yeah, well, John. Okay, here's the thing. When Harbaugh took over Baltimore, it was kind of a mess. Belichick, Billick left it, whatever the guy's name was, left it
Yeah,
kind of
Brian
a
Billick.
mess.
Yep.
Yeah, he left it. He left it kind of a mess. They didn't have a quarterback. They didn't. They had Ray Lewis. Harbaugh, understood. Hey, I've got this defensive pieces, so I'm going to build around that. Build a great running game, and we're going to win with defense. And I thought he did a great job. He got a Super Bowl out of Flacco. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah.
Flacco's is not Big Ben. He's not the arm talent or this that Aaron Rodgers is. So, I thought that I think Harbaugh is a great coach. I mean, he's having a really bad year this year, but the last couple years he's been so close to the Super Bowl. But it's not his fault. Guys turn the ball over. It's not his fault. Guys miss tackle. It's not. You can scheme it up all you want. At the end of the day, players make plays. And so you watch Lamar. Lamar is a great player, but playoffs he's not. It's like him and Josh Allen. Their playoffs are their kryptonite. They get to a certain point and it's can't get over that hump.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but I
I
like.
just I
I mean,
just think
honestly,
it's
if I would swap, if you told me I could swap Harbaugh for Tomlin, I would do it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't think twice.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens like in the next like let's say 3 years
Like
because
real life.
I mean I think Harbaugh's not getting a lot of scrutiny, I would say. Like the proverbial hot seat. Like he's not on the coach's hot
Yeah,
seat because of the injuries, because of things that have happened. But
yeah.
he has
Well, I
had
yeah,
he has had he has had no little to no success since they won the Super Bowl. Like,
yeah.
they
Well, I mean,
and
he's
the
been to a
super.
couple
I
AFC.
mean,
He's been to
that's the
AFC Championship
assignment,
games. Yeah,
right?
but
But
he's been to
that's the
AFC Championship. I
assignment, right?
mean,
Winning the Super Bowl.
yeah. I mean,
No, no,
honestly,
I think he's only been to one AFC
yeah.
Championship game
But in the
since
last
then.
5 years, he's made some playoff. He's got playoff wins.
hmm
Right,
So,
but he's in
so
the same boat as
yeah,
Tomlin, where
yeah,
they've won one playoff game, so
yeah,
they
yeah.
haven't
But
advanced to the AFC Championship game,
but you sit down and
and
look.
arguably, John Harbaugh has had a three-time MVP in Lamar Jackson
Yeah,
at his disposal.
when you flip that over, Mike Tomlin's had the better defense. Mike Tomlin's had the better defense for the last 5 years. Well, when I
Yeah,
look at John Harbaugh is a guy that he wants to run the football and he wants to play great defense. And then he's going to like, hey, my quarterback does, we throw for 225, 250 and a touchdown or two. That's all he wants. He doesn't want 400 yards. He doesn't need all that. So he wants to win defensively, defensive football. And so I think Harbaugh would have got more out of the Steelers than Tomlin did. Conversely, I think if Tomlin was in a situation with Harbaugh, but I think both those guys benefit from being in ownership with owners that are very loyal. They don't just fire guys to fire guys. They're very loyal. They stick with it. They trust them to do what they need to do, and they give them the opportunity. I think Lamar Jackson, he's got to stay. Yeah, you got MVP. I'm MVPs are nice, but at the end of the day, that's not what you play for. And so I like Lamar Jackson. I like Josh Allen, but you can't get to the show. And if you can't get to the show, then what are you here for? I'm sorry, Patrick Mahomes has been keeping you on the sideline. I mean, but Joe Burrow got to the show. Joe Burrow got to the
Yeah.
show. You know what I mean? If he could ever stay healthy, he'd be dangerous. But the guy can't.
Well,
He hasn't
I
finished a
mean,
full season lately.
yeah, Joe Burrow's had the most success in
Yeah,
the Patrick Mahomes era, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like
I think he has a winning record against
Oh,
Mahomes
wait, wait,
and the
wait. Hold on,
Chiefs.
hold on. Yeah, maybe, but the Patrick Mahomes era started when?
But he's like 7, 8 years in,
Okay,
and
so
yeah.
I'm just throwing this out there. Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady AFC Championship game.
Oh wait, who would
sorry,
I take? Who would I take?
sorry, you're still
Uh,
living in the past, Chet. I
I,
forgot. I
I would
forgot.
say
Okay,
I mean knowing what we know now, yeah, obviously you go with Brady. That's
of
you know what I
the
mean.
current quarterbacks on
Oh,
rosters.
oh,
Yeah,
the ones currently
Sounds like I'm
active.
just in
Yes,
time.
yes.
currently
Joe
currently
Burrow.
active. I mean, you sit down. I mean, like I said, I mean Mahomes. I mean, I will say that the other night when some of those calls, like you got to get at least one penalty on the Chiefs. To have like three called and I mean two called and they got declined. But the point being is that come on, there is some pretty obvious ones that should have been called that weren't called. So it's like now you're going to get this whole conspiracy thing. Like, come on, NFL, you got to do better.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, do you see this
Time to
stuff
get on these
as
rest
like
of my hate.
offensive pass
But
interference?
We're
yeah,
not going to play that game on this show where
but
we talk about conspiracy
well,
theories
no,
and
but
think
I'm
that
I'm not even
everything's
saying it's
rigged.
conspiracy. I'm just saying
No,
that
bad officiating.
they they sit down and they clearly like I thought when like when Mahomes went into the end zone, he was running. The guy gave up. He didn't hit him. He could have tried to blast him and then knocked him through the end zone. He didn't. He pulled up, let him hit him. Mahomes comes in. He taunts at him. He stints at him. He spikes the ball in front of him. He taunts him again. He's screaming in his face. 4 different times he could have got a unsportsmanlike conduct. He didn't get anything. So to me, it's like if roles were reversed, would they? And he was doing that to Patrick Mahomes, would they have called a flag? You
Yes.
see what I'm saying? That's and I not for anything. I used to hate the Patriots because I would get so mad because like you touch Tom, he's getting a flag, but Ben could get his nose broken and nobody says a word. But it's because the perception of the guy too is that Big Ben, he's a big strong guy, he can take the hits. Tom Brady's pretty. We want to make sure he looks good for commercials. So you know he's got to make that
Yeah,
money for the
well,
NFL. So
every sport does it. The NBA does
yeah,
it. I mean,
yeah, the NBA
superstars
does it.
get calls.
Yeah, they
SGA
do.
Yeah.
gets calls that other
Yeah,
players don't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I
yeah,
think that there's an element of
yeah,
the every sport kind of wants to promote their guys,
yeah, yeah,
and the Chiefs have been the guys for a while, just like the Patriots were. They get calls
yeah,
that up and coming teams don't. It's
yeah.
not fair. Don't get me wrong, but I think it
No.
happens a lot more frequently than we think. Veterans
No,
get
well, I
calls.
mean, again, like I said, if you're the Steelers playing the Jaguars, you know,
Yeah,
Steelers will probably get the benefit of calls, over the Jaguars. So I don't say that it doesn't happen for everybody. I'm just saying that when you're that blatant about it, I think the refs have to okay, they should at least say, "Hey, Patrick, man, dude, you can't be doing this. We don't have to penal you, but you're gonna force us to throw that hanky on you." So it's one of those things. I thought the Lions played a bad game, and I felt like the Chiefs were going to win that anyway. But I just felt like, I
yep.
think they got a little frustrated, and so, but I'm agree with you. It happens in every league. The strike zone in baseball for some batters is not as big as it is for others. I mean, now that you have the
Well,
computer helping out, but for a
we'll
long
we'll get to
time,
that. We'll get to that. We'll
so
get to that about baseball. So I heard a rumor. It was on the internet. I didn't Google it, but I don't know what you guys are hearing. But being that our pass defense is the worst element of our defense, I heard that we're signing C.J. Gardner, who was cut by the Baltimore Ravens.
From the
hmm,
practice
So
squad, right?
yes, absolutely. Hey, I don't care what he was doing. I care he won a Super Bowl. He's a talented guy. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know. I know we need help in our secondary. That's a
Yep.
fact.
Yep.
And there is a stat about Gonzalez since in the 2 games that he's been back, or I think this will be his third week. Either way, 7 attempts in his direction. and they were 0 for 7 before New Orleans. I don't know. I don't know the stats there. So I mean, we've got a shutdown corner, or at least a corner that can change, the direction that the quarterback's looking, right? So we need some help. I don't know if you guys have heard that they're signing him or not. I don't know what he looks like. Did we even bring anybody in as a running back? Did we
I haven't
sign
heard of it.
anybody?
I have not heard of a single guy they brought in for a workout.
Hmm.
And crazy, right?
Well,
It's insane.
it is a little bit. I mean, they must be all set with whoever was on they must have promoted somebody from the practice squad, or I don't
Yeah,
know.
special teamer. Yeah, I don't think he got a single rep. I can't think of his name. He got some special teams play.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah. Hmm.
I also heard that Vrabel reached out to Bill Callahan when he was fired. Do
Yep,
you
I
think
see
that
that
there's
too.
So
some?
yeah.
Do you think there's some a little bit of like, hey, come on over, man?
Yes, I
Like a
do.
Bill Belichickian
Yeah.
kind of like, hey, come on over, man. We're gonna hire you. You can consult us on the game that we're about to play
Yeah,
against
Well, we
Tennessee.
are one defensive coordinator short, right? Like
we are.
the guy's still not back. I hope he gets well. He take care of yourself, obviously, but we need a defensive coordinator
Hmm.
because our defense has dropped off a cliff over the last 2 weeks. Christopher Gonzalez has played well. You're 100% right. But at the same time, the rest of the secondary has just started to stink. Like, I don't know. Our defense has got exponentially worse since he's come back, which doesn't make
Well,
any sense to me because he is a superstar. Don't get me wrong. But like, there were times last week or the week before as well, where they were just marching down the field at will. It's
Hmm.
not like they were playing against exactly offensive juggernauts last week.
well, not last week, but the week before
Yeah,
that.
yeah, the week
Josh
before
Allen,
were
he's in the league.
the week
He's
before
he's
were.
pretty elite. But
Yeah.
I felt like our defense did definitely made Spencer Rattler look elite. Like I
Yeah.
was very surprised.
Yes.
But I also he has elite speed and elusiveness, in my opinion. Like he is at that level there. I mean, he's got to be. He played the majority of the games last year when the team was terrible. Like he knows how to elude pressure or save his own
Yep.
life. But yeah, we made him look very
Better
good.
than
I
he
was
is. I
disappointed,
agree.
but we had 2 touchdowns called back. So I mean, in theory, we did definitely outscore them and almost double their output.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just didn't like the balance of the offense. And the defense, of course. Like we've got to figure something out. Like I think I think it'll be figured out. We've got the next few weeks. We've got, in my opinion, inferior opponents, so we should be able to make some adjustments, find some bright spots, and hopefully we'll improve. But overall, I mean. Our defense is still middle of the pack, and it's just because our passing, like we give up so many yards over through the air, man. Like, yeah.
Now,
Anyway,
now you talk about Bill Callahan, the old Raiders coach.
no, his son Brian,
Oh, okay, Brian Callahan.
who
Okay.
was fired. The Tennessee Titans fired him.
Oh, okay.
He
Yeah.
was the head coach, and they fired him this week,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Or like
Yep.
Yeah.
Sunday?
Yeah.
But then his dad
Yeah.
left.
Monday
His
morning,
dad left
Sunday.
with
Yeah.
him.
I will say this that
Yeah.
if he's anything like his dad was not a great head coach, but was a great offensive line coach and offensive coordinator. So if he does come in, you know, the Callahan name is known for offensive linemen. So if you want to shore up your running game, that's a name you want to bring in and
I
work with your
mean,
guys because they definitely
Do it.
they definitely that's one thing I know that they were known for that they're offensive getting those offensive lineman guys in their blocking schemes. You know they know their stuff with that. So you know I that's not a bad pickup of it for me in my opinion. So
Yeah, I think that the more the merrier when it comes to good football minds.
Hmm.
Surround yourself with them, bring more in, find a job for them. I think our offensive line is like, I agree with you. Our running game is non existent, but I do feel like we've started with from scratch virtually. It's a brand new offensive line for all intents and purposes, major positions, brand new. And I think for what the trajectory of what they're doing, I'm pretty happy with where our offensive line is. They're protecting him. Um, Will
yeah.
Campbell, who hand up, I shit on a little bit on draft day. has turned out to be everything he was advertised, and then some. And the rest of our offensive line is protecting the quarterback well. I think we have to develop more chemistry and get that run game going, but I think we'll get there. I see now. This is where Nate and I have a fundamental difference. I'm really happy with the way our offense is coming together. I'm really happy the way it's developing. I think we have a budding offensive line. I think that McDaniels has done a great job helping to develop and empower Drake May. I think you shortchange him if you don't think he plays a big part in his blossoming this year. Just the stability he provides, the structure he provides, the way he move the ball around. Like this is a typical Josh McDaniels offense where any one of a number of receivers can have huge games, just like it always was with Brady. I'm very happy with where we're at. I think if we went into this season and said, hey, at this part of the game, if your offense is putting out the output it is putting out, we would all kind of snicker and say, yeah, maybe. But our offense is the high point of our team. Like it's our offense that's carrying us through these games. Thank you, Josh McDaniels, because that was not the case for the last 5 years.
No doubt. No doubt.
Well, let's go back to the first thing that you said was that you have to give credit to the number 4 pick and the number 3 pick in the draft because you've been shitting on him the whole time.
Listen,
Travis Hunter. I will say,
I've been shitting on him the whole time.
Wally, you wouldn't even call him by his name. You were referring to him as T-Rex.
Now,
like for the first 3 weeks.
Once he started playing, I got behind him. Once he started playing, like I came around pretty quick.
And let there be no mistake, Wally, of the 3 of us, me, you, and Chet, you were I use the word negative lightly, but you didn't have high hopes for this year. Before we even started,
no, Josh McDaniels says you exceeded my expectations.
Wally, Chet, and I were very optimistic. We were wrong in the aspect that we both felt. I think I'll let Chet speak in a second, but I definitely thought that our defense was going to carry us to a record of 4-2 potentially, or if we were good, it would be our defense that got us there and not our offense. But I'm okay with it being the other way, and we need to make some adjustments because I think defensively it's easier to adjust with the talent that we have because we spent a bunch of money on that side.
Yeah.
But my disagreement with the offense is it's not really a disagreement. It's just, again, like I do expect a little bit more, and when we are as good as we are, when we have somebody like Drake May that can create a play from thin air, basically. Like I just want to see more creativity for the offense. I want to see, don't leave it to a guess. Meaning, I think Drake May pre-snap can read defenses pretty well. Let's get some motion going pre-snap. Let's move some people around, move the defense around, make sure what it is, and then expose the weakness that you've now put right in front of you because you've moved people out of position or they didn't move and you know exactly what defense they're in. You know where the soft spot is. Like I would like some more creativity before you came on. That's what
question. You didn't see more of that last week. You didn't see more creativity and more like, I mean, the deep passes
I did, but the 2 touchdowns.
There were a lot of people in motion. I saw a couple people breaking down Drake May, putting people in motion, figuring out what the defense was and responding accordingly. So I think it's happening. I think it's happening more frequently as well.
No, I don't disagree. I mean, that's why we had the success that we did passing. But again, if I want all cylinders to be firing, I don't want us to sputter in the run game when that wasn't a stellar defense that we played. Granted, it was New Orleans at home. They play better there. But, I mean, there's no way. Again, earlier you weren't here. Drake May was the leading rusher. And we might have had 1 or 2 designed runs for him. He got those yards because he pulled it down and got what the defense gave him. But, when we run a designed run play, we should have some semblance of success. I'll take 3 yards a carry. We didn't even come close to that.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me, especially again with the success that we had through the air, the success that we have passing, the person that we have at quarterback. I mean, thankfully, our defense, we can. This is kind of like something that probably you have all have heard before. If your defense can't stop the run, it doesn't matter who you have at quarterback or what you have on the offensive side. Because when it gets to the playoffs, that's all that's going to happen is they'll run the ball down your throat and control time of possession and keep that person that's stellar with the ball in their hands sitting on the bench. So thankfully, again, we're really good at stopping the run. We're number three. We only give up like 77 yards a game. So we just got to figure out how to put the clamps on. Not even put the clamps on, just slow the leak. The boat's taking on water. We got to figure out how to plug up a part of the hole, and then once that's plugged up, let's work on plugging the entire thing up. I don't know. Chet, what are your thoughts on what Wally said about? First of all, our number three pick, like he was not very complimentary about him before when we drafted him and all the way up to the first snap that he played.
Yeah, I mean, I was raising my hand earlier to try to like answer a question, but my arms are too short, so you guys probably didn't see it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that happened. But no, I think given the way the Patriots have performed the past couple of years, I can see why there'd be anyone with doubts about anything we were doing. But I think again, I love the Josh McDaniels hire. I think that he's the reason that we're seeing Drake May do so well, that we have different receivers, different weeks doing well. Hopeful for the future. And I think that everyone's still waiting for Drake May to fall off. I think everyone's waiting for that game where he fails so miserably. It's like, he's not that good. And I'm just hoping we don't see that. I'm just hoping we don't see that because it's because I was worried about it this week. He was the reason we won this week, or he was a big reason we won this week. Again, our defense is where we need to really go into the trade deadline, make some things happen. We do need a running back, but otherwise we need to shore up our safeties and I think get another edge rusher. And I think we'll be okay.
Otani
I
is a
hope so.
man.
Are you watching the
The guy just drops bombs. We might be watching the best baseball player of all time. Like his career could honestly be that kind of trajectory.
I'm putting it on right now.
He just dropped. I think he's hit 2 home runs tonight already.
He's really good. I was gonna look up. I'm not gonna do it, but I was gonna look up what the best defense that we played this year. We haven't. I don't think we've been tested honestly, even though we've lost twice. The two teams that we lost to. But anyway, we'll move on. Let's talk baseball. I wanted to
Let me
talk
just say this one
baseball.
last thing about Campbell, and then we can go on. My only point was that if we didn't take him at 3, there's a good chance we probably could have got him at 8 or 9. Is all I was saying all along, that it was hard to get excited about that because I feel like he's playing well, but you can't tell me that wouldn't have been a possibility. If we didn't draft him at 3, I don't think he goes in the top 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I wouldn't want to gamble with that because, and I mean, seeing the play on
You're
the
right.
field,
You're right. You're right.
I do think there isn't really a difference right now per se between him and the next tackle that was taken.
Yeah,
Whoever that was. I don't know if it was Simmons, the guy from
I don't
Ohio
remember.
State. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I think all of the tackles that were drafted high in the first round, they've all blossomed. They're all doing well. So yeah, I agree with you, but no, but I hope again, this is the part of me that we don't sit in those team meetings and
No.
the area where they make the decisions. And I hope that they're doing their due diligence and they made some phone calls. It's kind of the same with how I feel about, again, our offensive coordinator. I'd be happy with hearing something along the lines of, Josh McDaniels saying, "Well, I told Drake May for the first, let's say, 5 games, 6 games before we get to the bye, I want you to the 2 plays that I call in the huddle or call into you pre-snap. I want you to run those plays. because we're going to gain data analysis from those plays. Don't deviate, don't call an audible, just audible to the second or vice versa, right? Like, or flip it or something, but use those two plays. And that's where I feel like the creativity is probably not happening because Drake May is still, it's early on. He's learning. It's his new offense. Like, I understand that. I'd rather hear that from somebody that is, involved in the offense, uh, than to guess and hope that that's the case. Because again, the creativity I feel like is lacking, and it's like Drake May's too talented. Our offense is good enough. We, I think it was the Buffalo Bills game where I text you guys it in the first quarter, like, Diggs has got the most energy of anybody on the field right now. Why are we not forcing it, but let's try and look his way. Let's get him this play. Let's take him out of the wide out spot, put him in the slot, get him moving, get him something underneath, get the ball in his hands because he had the most energy. And they did that in the second half, but I just felt like you read the room, you can see that dude wants the ball. Feed him. Like, easier said than done, but all right. Any last comments on the Steelers or the
Just one, just one. I know we're talking about Josh McDaniels, but I drew up 17 plays for the flag football team that I'm coaching, and I'm really digging the feedback I'm getting so far. Situational plays, misdirection, feeling good about the season, and I'm thinking I might get a call from Mike. Just
good,
saying.
man? Bring those 17 plays, like, yeah, hopefully you do have them in your little Rolodex or your file folder, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Or is it how did you draw them up? Honestly, like how literally.
Literally, computer
Yeah,
paper,
yeah.
X's and O's, where someone's
Nice.
going, and I put in red the first option. And yeah, pretty simple, but also
Nice. I like it.
brilliant.
Yeah, nice. All right, let's talk baseball. We haven't
All
we
right.
haven't spoken since, the Yankees lost got trounced by the Blue Jays, which I'm sure we were all happy about. Maybe I don't know. Oh, yeah, it's not Pittsburgh, so you know Jose was happy, but I
I
thought it was
I was
interesting.
kind of glad to see the Yankees get stomped out.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
everybody was, honestly. We all
yeah,
hate them. Everybody
yeah.
hates them unless you're a fan of them, and that's okay. But I really feel bad, honestly, for Aaron Judge because I don't think he's really bought into the Boston and New York rivalry. But he did perform well this year in the playoffs specifically, and he didn't have enough around him, unfortunately. But for somebody that makes 40 million and is the fifth highest baseball player, you kind of expect more. I mean, he did bat 500. Yeah, only had one home run, five RBIs. But I don't think there's enough protection in that lineup for him. We can talk Dodgers in a minute, but the Dodgers are just so deep. Like that's what makes them so good. Like it's hard to pitch around Otani one when he's leading off, right? When they have him in the leadoff spot, it's hard to pitch around him. Uh, but the Dodgers are just so deep, and they're probably going to win again. But um, yeah, I thought it was interesting. Again, everybody's saying Judge needs to do more, uh, which he does for the amount of money that he's getting paid. But I love to see that the Toronto Blue Jays just run up and down on him on the scoreboard. And I really wish that guy that plays first base with them was wearing a Red Sox uniform, but we'll see. What are your thoughts on the Yankees getting trounced, Wally?
I love it. I'm here for it. Again, I think I said on this podcast, there's nothing quite like October baseball, Yankees versus Red Sox. I will never root for the Yankees. I can't think of a single scenario where I would. So I enjoy it. That's really fucking loud. What the hell that is?
Is that your smoke detector needs a battery?
No, I don't have a smoke detector over there. Maybe
Carbon
I don't know
monoxide
what it is.
detector?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is. At any rate, so I like it. I like it. I hate seeing the Dodgers seemingly marching on the way to another World Series. Though I'm sick of them and all the money they're spending. Um, but yeah, I love seeing the Yankees lose. I will always love seeing the Yankees lose. I will always root against the Yankees, pretty much above almost any other team. Like theirs is a different level of hate, and I think I speak for a lot of New England when I say that. Like there's even the Lakers, like the Lakers really aren't our rival like the Yankees are. We see them what twice a year, and if the playoffs are making the finals, so it's not like the rivalry is in the Patriots never had a divisional rival. Uh, the Yankees, however, like those early 2000 Red Sox Yankees games were some of like my fondest sports memories. So watching them lose will always, always, always make me happy.
Yeah, I agree. What are your thoughts, Jose?
Well, I the Dodgers are just becoming the Yankees West, with spending all the money. Um, but I think that, you sit down and you look, I think the Yankees just, there's an arrogance to them. So everybody seems to not, and if you're not a Yankees fan, you don't like them. And Yankees fans are kind of arrogant too. It's like, I was a big Derek Jeter fan. I wasn't a Yankee fan, but I did like Derek Jeter. But, I'm with you. I think Aaron Judge, you say he's not protected. There's some pretty good players around him. I think he needs a lead. You can't just say, well, I hit 500. So, it's not on me. You need to turn to your guys, your left and right, and say, hey, I can't do this by myself. We got to lift this log together. And that's where guys like Jeter and all these guys that would come in, they would rally out as a team. They were like, hey, and you'd have some guys who nobody expected in the playoffs to come out and like Brett Boone and them to have these monster playoffs, and you're like, but they understood, hey, we got our stars, but our stars need our help. And I think that's where you look at Jeter and that whole Yankees when during those era versus now, Judge isn't Jeter. He's not telling those guys, hey, yeah, I'm gonna get you there, but I can't seal the deal without you. And he needs to kind of step up to that role and say, hey, when we get to October baseball, September, October, it's time to, you know, this is where we make our money. We're not here for the season. We're here, at the end of the season when we get to the playoffs. So that's how I see Aaron Judge. I just don't think he's a leader like some of those guys were, you know, when they were making their run. You know,
Yeah, I think I mean you guys both made a comment about the Dodgers being, the Yankees of the West, but although they spend some money, they've also made some really good moves that, have made them even deeper and better without spending a lot of money. And now those moves are Max Muncy and Tabasco, who are like crucial parts of their team now. They were both cut by the team that they previously played for before they were on the Dodgers. So they
yeah,
picked those two dudes up off waivers. So I mean, they're not the Yankees because they're smart. They're smarter and they make good moves as well as pay the highest players that they can get their hands on. You know what I mean? So they're almost if the Yankees are like the Emperor Palpatine or the Sith Lord, the Dodgers are Darth Vader now. Like because
yeah,
they're much better and they've overtaken the Yankees as far as spending and being smart and making economical choices when they have an option to. So I
yeah,
thought that was interesting uh, because they just make smart business decisions on the field and off the field to include their manager. Like, and I don't understand the reasoning behind it, but from my understanding, both the Yankees and the Dodgers and potentially other teams in MLB, like the manager doesn't set the lineup. The lineup set by the GM or like somebody in the front office, not the manager himself. The manager's given the roster as far as the starting lineup that night. I'm sure he has some say in it, but and he knows prior to
Yeah.
getting it handed to him. But the talk is that both those teams, the Dodgers and the Yankees, the manager is just a manager, and they're not making the decision of who's playing that night based off of matchups and etc. I'm sure again, the final decision belongs to somebody else. His input is probably put in, but I just thought that was interesting, and they're still having success. I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree they make smart decisions, but like when you can just spend what $1 billion on the best player in baseball when you already have one of the top, I mean, like that's just putting it on the table, right? Like that's not a
Yeah.
smart move. You just paid the most money for the best player. It's a good move, don't get me wrong. Otani's also pitching today. It's the fifth inning. He's got a one hitter. He's got 8 strikeouts, and he's got 2 solo home runs in a 4-0 game. If we're not watching the best player to almost ever play this game, I don't know, man. It's getting like I think that a couple more years, like he's put up the last couple of years, and you almost have to have a conversation. 5 innings, 8 strikeouts, and one hit. I mean, Jesus. Is that you? I can't really hear you.
Nate kind of died out. I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, your voice is going. Your mic's going in and out, Nate.
Yeah. I would say I think that you have a legitimate argument there, Wally. I think that if he keeps going on this path, that it's going to be hard to say that he's not. And I'm with
Just
you.
because he can play both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and I think that when you sit down and you look and you say, you know, it helps to have money. It's kind of like an ugly girl. If you have money, you can make yourself look pretty. If you don't have no money, you're kind of just gonna stay ugly. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
But I think that when they invested in him, he was. If there's anybody that you can say, okay, we justified spending this much money, he's right now showing that he's worth every penny.
Yep.
There's a lot of guys that got big fat contracts and they're not delivering. So, or they're good, but they're not as good as their contract. But he's been in everything he's supposed to be and then some. So, like I said, if he stays healthy and he can keep doing this, boy, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
So
can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we
Better?
can. There he
Okay.
is.
Yeah, I was saying Otani's head and shoulders above Babe Ruth. Like, Babe Ruth, what he was doing in his time, he was the Shohei Otani. But in this era, like I mean, geez, especially coming off of Tommy John. Like
Yeah.
he
Isn't that
didn't pitch at
crazy?
all last year.
yeah.
Didn't pitch at
Hey,
all, and then this year, and then also there's talk about like we'll keep him in the bullpen or keep him. But if that happens, he can't play. Or
yeah.
once he goes into pitch, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of you guys might know, but he can start in the field, pitch an inning, but as soon as he comes out pitching, he's out of the lineup. Is that correct?
Well, they can
I don't
do
know.
like a double move, I think. I think they can move him back to the field,
I
but I'm
think
not
you're right.
sure. I'd have to look that up.
No, I don't. I don't think they
I
can.
don't know.
I
He
think
might
if they
not.
want him in the bullpen, he either cannot start in the field, uh, or he has to again pitch an inning, and then after he pitches, he can get on this field. That
Yeah.
might be the caveat.
I don't know. We'd have to look that one up, but yeah. To be fair, Babe Ruth was riding in buses and prop planes. I don't even know if he had planes, but if he was, and that dude was drinking beer, eating hot
He was
dogs, and
cocked.
he
Yeah.
was and pimping hoes. So he
Yeah,
he
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
he
So,
wasn't he
so
wasn't exactly living. He didn't have the masseuse and the chef and the you know specialized airlines and all the other fancy stuff. So
all I'm hearing, Jose, is you're saying Babe Ruth was actually the best to ever do it.
all I'm
yeah. And,
saying
and
is.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and the guy before he was named before Lou Alcindor or whatever. He wore canvas shoes and like had bad knees and
Hey,
like
look, all I can say is like you sit down and you look at Kareem, 6 rings, lots of points, lots of. I mean, and then you add in oh, by the way, 3 NCAA titles, which he would have had 4 if he was able to play as a freshman, and then to go back and he won like 2 or 3 high school titles. The dude's got rings laying around like he's got some on his toes, So I mean,
the only rings that count are at the professional level, Jose.
I mean,
We don't count what they do before then.
again, he even in the NBA, he's got 6 rings.
Yeah, he does. That's
you
good.
know,
He's
and he's
great.
got
He's a
some
great
Finals
player.
MVPs. I mean, he's got any legitimate argument as good as anybody else, you know.
But Babe Ruth
So
is eating hot dogs. I think you
yeah,
said eating
And
hot
drinking
dogs,
beer, yeah.
drinking beers, and
yeah,
I think Jose, correct me if I'm wrong, quote,
yeah.
pimp and hose.
Oh yeah, he was
Pimpin'
pimping
hose,
hose.
yeah.
I think he was out
Yeah,
there.
he was.
I
But he
mean,
was
He's
also
going to
he
them
was also
speakeasies. Going to them
hey,
speakeasies, of
he's
course he
hey,
pitching
was.
Babe,
and hitting
Babe,
at the highest
hey,
level of the MLB.
Babe was cool before it was cool. You know what I mean? Like he was just that laid back guy. Like, I'm gonna go play some baseball now. Let me take a shot. I'm gonna go play some baseball. I'll be back, after we're done. I mean, he just, he wasn't out there in the gym lifting weights, this, that, and the other. He wasn't that. But I mean, the what Otani's doing because he's continuing to pitch is what to me that would be the difference because Babe stopped pitching,
Yep.
and if Otani keeps pitching and doing what he's doing, it's gonna be like wow, there's not even an argument. I'm with Wally.
Yeah,
We
no.
could be seeing the greatest player,
Yeah,
and so
there is not an
yeah,
argument. He's
so
probably the best hitter right now. Will continue to be.
yeah, and
If he
and
can,
he'll
if he
be the
can,
best player of this era, that's for sure.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you
I
sit
mean,
down,
just
he's
like what we're seeing right now tonight, what we're watching live, like what he's putting up for statistics in the NLCS. Like this is
yeah,
on this. We've never seen anything like it. Like
yeah.
there's never been anything quite like this. Like
No,
this is
I'm with you.
Not that we've
I agree
seen.
with you. And what's I will say that's fascinating is that the Dodgers allowed him to do it. Like let him pitch, let him play the field, let him, so many
yep.
guys came into the league that were able to do that, and then it was either you're going to play the field or you're going to be a pitcher. And they gave him, people were forced to choose, and so like now it's like the Dodgers were, I think that's a brave thing to do is to say, hey, we're going to put our best player out there and risk, his shoulder and it's all, his elbow and everything else with, doing pitching and playing the field. And, so I think that's a huge, bold move by the Dodgers to do that, so, but I mean, it's paying off for him. I mean, and the dude's able,
Yep.
he's very capable. So I
Yes.
think on his end, holding up the bargain, say, hey, look, I can do this. But for the Dodgers to say, hey, you know what, we're going to allow you to do it. We're going to allow you to be that dual threat, which is crazy. You very rarely see that. So
Yeah. That's why they paid him $1 billion, 700
yeah,
million or whatever it was,
yeah. I mean, he's
over
lived
30
up to the
years.
hype.
Yeah, he's making $5 this year, but he'll get it when he retires.
That should be
Yeah,
That's
illegal.
right.
It's
yeah.
That's
disgusting.
right. I wanted to backtrack. Well, yeah, I wanted to backtrack. Right now, do you guys know who the best team in the AFC is? Statistic
Patriots?
wise and in the
Oh no,
standings?
Steelers.
Probably the
Nope.
Patriots.
Nope.
Yeah,
Indianapolis.
yeah,
Oh,
that makes
They're
sense.
I
the
should have
number
known that
one
because
Jonathan
seed.
Taylor's having a year.
I should know that because I got Daniel Jones as my quarterback on my fantasy. So
Yeah, you
I've
lucked
been ripping it
out.
up all year. Yeah, I was
He
like,
has been
well, what's
killing it.
funny is like I put him in the start. I was like, and I benched Gino, and I was thinking, I don't know, should I keep Gino? I was like, I'm just gonna go with Daniel Jones. What the hell? He's paid
Jose,
off
don't
for me
sell
all year.
yourself short. You saw this coming the entire time. You're like Daniel Jones. You saw it.
Mhm.
You know
Now,
you did.
hey, he wasn't in New York anymore, and so as long as you're not a quarterback in New York, I'm okay with you.
Fair enough.
I agree with
If you're
that.
not, especially if I would never take a Jets quarterback. Never. I'm sorry. Can't do it. Just can't. I'm sorry.
Look
You're a
what,
Jets quarterback.
yeah.
Can't do it.
Oh
Look what
man.
Darnold's doing. New York is where quarterbacks go to die. Like it's where
Yeah.
your career goes to die nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's bad. It's,
Good.
Well, how do we explain Jackson Dart?
well, I mean, he's got a good start, but we'll see. We'll see. I
Yeah,
mean,
give him a
He
minute.
was he was
Daniel
literally,
Jones had a couple good games and then, went downhill after that. So we'll see,
and Dart was
Can you
in
but
believe
concussion
they
protocol
picked
in
him over
Japan.
Saquon Barkley? Like
yeah,
you
no.
should fire everyone who makes any decisions in that franchise because
Yeah.
of that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I didn't
crazy.
understand letting Saquon walk. That was kind of crazy, but
Very much
and
so.
and then he goes to in your division, which is even worse. So
Yeah. Yeah.
1, 2, 3 inning with 2 strikeouts. He's up to 10 strikeouts for the night.
I just saw that. I just saw
That's
that.
crazy. That's crazy. Well, the last couple of weeks it's been like the week of the underdog as far as the who's been winning in the NFL lately, but Do we think that the Indy being in first place is sustainable? Are they like a Jonathan Taylor injury away from being the last place team?
Well, I mean
I don't.
that's the question, right?
Yeah.
But go ahead, Jose.
Oh no, you go ahead. Well, you go first.
No, yeah, I mean that's the question. I think yes, and that's the answer too. And Jonathan Taylor is having himself a year, and we've seen in the past where a a dominant running back can absolutely carry a team on their shoulders, and I think he's doing that. But I don't know, man. This team might be built to last. I like the way they're playing. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor is a stud. He's an absolute stud. What a resurgent year he's having.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
just because
I
they
agree.
had crap
Yeah,
last year, but
yeah. I
anyway.
Yeah.
agree with Wally. I think Jonathan Taylor's a great player. But I like what they're doing. I like that Daniel Jones is not just one receiver or one tight end. You know, he's
Mhm.
spreading the ball around. He's making plays. He's moving around in the pocket. I think that's a credit to the coaching staff and to his offensive line that make him feel comfortable enough that hey, I'm no longer going to be a crash test dummy. And I think their defense plays well enough. I think their defense is
Yep.
they're solid. They're very a very good defense. You know, and they're solid at every level. So I like what I see. So I think, you know, would Taylor going out hurt them? Yeah, I think it would kind of hurt them, you know, but I think, you know, I don't think they would go to the bottom of the NFL. You know,
Yeah.
you got to kind of Cleveland that to get to there. So
Well, you look at their division. Their division is fairly weak as well, besides them.
yeah,
So I think they'll end up in the playoffs because of the weakness of their division. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, they have some deep ball threats, and they also have Ty Warren to throw underneath.
yeah.
Um, that gives them balance, and I think that's part of the reason why, obviously, Jonathan Taylor's having the success that he's having. Um, but it's interesting. Nobody saw that coming for sure. Not with
Oh
Daniel
no,
Jones. Uh,
no.
if,
Jose did. I just said that. That's why he drafted him.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We all should have put money on that in Vegas. That
Yeah.
would have been
Hey,
nice.
you know, I
Uh,
guess what's up? What's the next one?
the next one's just a reaction from everybody about Bill
Oh,
Belichick and the things that are going on at
Oh my
UNC.
God.
Like,
I I can't wait to start watching this game in 6 minutes. Because what kind of shit show are we about to see?
yeah.
yeah,
It, the fact that he went on vacation on their bye,
Oh my God.
come on.
The guy
Like
who
I
says
said,
no days off,
yeah,
stay away from women, stay away from alcohol.
he
Okay.
took his little 24-year-old up to to Fancy Town and you know, I was like, wow, you know, I that basically told me he's not all in. So
Yeah,
no, it wasn't his fault though. She does his scheduling, and she put on the schedule that they were going to a conference,
you're right. It's her
and it
fault.
turned out that
uh, last time I checked, like he's old enough to be her grandfather, so you know
that's
he's got
true.
to like say, hey, I gotta use my surprise my seniority. Oh, Miami just fell.
I do think I do think obviously, the lack of success that he's having at the collegiate level, it's a telltale sign of like, he's a very good coach, not so good at evaluating talent at that level, at the collegiate level, high school slash collegiate level. And obviously, when he gets somebody on his staff or on his roster, he's good at evaluating what they're good at and what they're not good at and trying to exploit that. But I don't. We're seeing the reason why, you know, our franchise the last 3 years was putrid, and we an entire draft 3 years ago is has literally left the building and is being successful uh, in another with another team under another coaching staff. Um, and it honestly it really bothers me to a point where I don't know where we went wrong, but uh,
I
I,
do.
I don't understand why he probably should have just rode off into the sunset, called it a career, been happy with it. Of course, I'm sure he wants to coach, but like, wait for the next NFL team to call you instead of going to college. But I think do we think this ruins his chances of getting another job potentially in the NFL?
No, no,
Oh my God, yes.
I don't think so.
You don't think it's not even the football as much as it is just the dumpster fire that
Everything,
surrounds
yeah.
him. Why would anyone hire that? Like he becomes a bigger story than the actual football team now. He's got his girlfriend, the hot mic, whole conversation that just came out. Like she's clearly intricately involved in the systemic parts of the football team he's at. Like, you don't want to hire a 24-year-old to be the GM for your football team. Like, that's embarrassing. And the results in the field do not warrant another chance in the NFL. I don't see a scenario at all where he gets another shot. Even in like, where's a guy like that going to coach right now? This has been horrific for the start to this season. It hasn't been bad. It's been absolutely terrible. And I love the man, and it breaks my heart to say that.
What's this hot mic situation? I don't know what you're referring
They
to.
were he remember he was doing a podcast with Patricia for a while prior to getting the job. The Pablo Torre released some. You got to watch it. Some clips of the two of them caught in a hot mic. Like it was the podcast wasn't taping. They were down. They were talking, but the microphone was still on, and they were trashing people. And I mean, it's a bad look. It's a really bad look for him after a whole bunch of other very recent bad looks. I think that it's best for him to go back to the booth. He did a great job with that. Add color commentary, do the media thing, and I'll enjoy every second of it.
I would too. He's the best coach ever in the NFL. And I think there's one team that's still willing to bring in him and Jordan, who would love the media frenzy more than wins. The Dallas Cowboys. I can see
Oh,
it.
good point. Good
Hey, man,
point.
I
I
can
did.
see it.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
You got a
to
point
Wally's
there.
point, any
that's
any
that's not.
team any team that really wants to win right now and they want their program to be taken very seriously and they care about that more than they do about the media, yeah, he's not getting a chance. I don't I wouldn't take
Yeah,
him. So
yeah. Yeah. You got. I didn't even think about that, but that's a good point, Chet. That's a because Jerry Jones does he does love to be talked about.
mhm.
He doesn't care if it's
Geriatric
good or
world,
bad.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with Wally. I don't. Right now he's just the longer he goes with it, the more he becomes toxic. Like nobody wants that around. Nobody,
Mhm.
and like I said, when he went on vacation, and they weren't playing well. If they would have went undefeated, playing well, looking great, yeah, okay, fine. But you can't be bad and then take time off. So I'm Steeler fan, but as a guy, I love watching great people do great things. I thought he had a great run, and it's sad to see him kind of letting himself play out like this. To me, I think that he's better than that, and if your heart isn't in it, then walk away. That's
Yeah.
you should have never like when you had your little 24-year-old and you're like, I don't know which head I want to listen to. The fact that you had any, hesitation, you should have told UNC, hey, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. That gives somebody the opportunity that's hungry. So
Yeah. Go back to the booth. I think Wally's point is great. He would be phenomenal in the booth.
yeah,
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 he
I
was.
think
He
so.
was during his commentary. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do think he'll get another chance, but it's not gonna the chance will have a asterisk or slash this is your girlfriend, she is your girlfriend and only your girlfriend. She has nothing to do with she is allowed into the family area, not in the locker room, not there'll be some stipulations
And
on
he
on
won't take
that
that
too.
deal. He's at a point in his career, he's gonna say,
Oh,
fuck you then. And I don't blame him either, by the way. Like I get it. Like he's at the point where he's like, I know what I'm doing. I got this. You don't put stipulations on me. I'm Bill Belichick, which is also his downfall.
Nick,
Right?
you
yeah,
think he
yeah,
gets
if
another
if he
shot in
does
the
that, then
NFL?
he won't get another. Yeah, if he does
Right.
that, then he won't get another shot.
Right.
But I think he'd take the shot over with those. I think he would. He's prideful enough. I think he would take that shot and have those, you know, those boundaries with his
Okay.
girlfriend. Again, she can be in the facility just like any other family member, but she is not doing XYZ for the team, and she's no way connected to the team other than being in your bedroom slash whatever you guys do and living at the same address, and that's it.
Jose, I wish you
But
were here for this, but do you guys remember upstairs of where I'm at right now, what Bill Belichick said when they drafted Drake May?
I do. He trashed him. He
yeah, he did.
trashed
He
him.
trashed him.
He absolutely
Yeah.
trashed him. I think about that often.
What did
Yeah.
he say,
He's like,
Chet? Do you remember?
He's like, oh yeah, this guy knows he can make all the throws. He likes to compare himself. You've never heard Drake May one time compare himself to Josh Allen,
Yeah.
but what Bill
Never.
Belichick said was he likes to compare himself to Josh Allen. We'll see about that. And I was like, you what? Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
petty
He's
motherfucker.
spiteful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
okay.
would
It's
I
okay.
would say there's probably a little bitterness in him,
Yeah.
because he didn't have the. I mean, and to be fair, he wasn't the guy who brought Brady in. Parcells had Bledsoe, and then was like, hey, and Parcells put a lot of that together, and kind of said, all right, here's the keys.
Oh
You
no,
know,
Parcells wasn't Bill Belichick did bring Brady in.
well, he drafted him in, but I don't
Yeah.
think Belichick was like, yeah, I want Tom Brady. Like, I don't. I think whoever the GM was like, I like this guy. You know, but I don't. I
Just
don't think
peel, yeah.
Belichick. Yeah, I don't
Everybody
think.
passed on Tom Brady 6 times.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
Yeah.
I don't. I
except
don't
for the
think.
Patriots. So, I
Yeah, I
mean,
don't think.
it's
I don't think that Bill Belichick saw Tom Brady being what he was going to be. I thought Bill Belichick might said, "Well, I got Curtis Martin. I got this. We're going to be like the old Giants. I can do this with a Jeff Hostetler or, Phil Simms type guy. I don't need anything super super spectacular." And so, Tom Brady ended up, being amazing, and he was great at picking coordinators. I will say that he lot of great coordinators on both sides of the ball. So I mean, he was
yeah,
great
he
at
did.
understanding, coaching talent, but I don't think he's very good at like personnel talent. And I
Yeah.
think that's where, I think his really great was like, hey, all right, you're a great offensive line coach. I want you. I want you for my offense coordinator. I need you. I think he brought great coaches in, and then he let them. He did what a good leader does. He let them do their thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it more and more it's looking like Tom Brady was the reason, not Bill Belichick. So, you
Yeah.
know,
Well, we could talk basketball, but I wanted to save it next week for because I think opening week is last week in October, right? Last week in
yeah,
October.
I think so.
But preseason is going on. I love this time of year with baseball, basketball, football, all of
Got
it
it all.
going on at the same time. So,
Yeah.
uh, have you been impressed with anything you've seen on the Celtics, Chet or Wally or anybody?
No,
Um,
unimpressed.
I mean,
Unimpressed.
I like the rookie Hugo, the kid from Europe. I think he's got a good nose for the ball. I think he's going to really. I think the Boston Celtics fans are going to like his style of play. I
Yeah.
think some of the big men mine it. I think that he's been surprising. I don't know. It's TBD. It's hard. I'm excited for the season. I'm excited to see how it starts. I think we'll know pretty quick. I'm more concerned Jaylen Brown just tweaked his hamstring. That's not a good way to start the season. Um, but I
Yeah, I'm
think
concerned
I
with
really
his
think
durability
Derek
for
White's going
sure,
to have a
though.
huge year. I think Derek White's an all-star this year. I think Derek White puts up huge numbers. I'm a Derek White stan. I love him. I love his game. I like the way he plays, and I think that he's the one that's going to really take a big. I don't get me wrong. I think Jaylen Brown has a big year too, but I think not enough people are talking about what I'm talking about. Derek White. I think Derek White has a huge year. That's what I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I
Peyton
think he'll
Pritchard could
probably
drop
sneak up
20
on
a game
people.
too.
Yep. Yep. LeBron and the Lakers are going to win the championship, though.
Well,
Only because the Celtics are down a player. That's all. Jason Tatum won't be around.
If the
Are we getting
if the
LeBron?
Lakers win the if the Lakers win the super if the Lakers win the championship, it's because it's Luca and the Lakers won the championship.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
LeBron won't have
it's
anything to do with that, huh?
it's
Well, he
not even
will, but it's
LeBron's team
Luca's
anymore.
team. It's Luca's
It's
team.
not it's the I mean the fact that they've started making moves and he's been kind of outspoken, like, wait a minute, you didn't run it past me. You know,
Yeah.
he's kind of been a little butthurt that they've talked to Luca and not to him. So
Well, yeah,
um,
I
that's
remember
the story,
LeBron
right?
saying, no,
He's
no,
not.
sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm saying I remember LeBron saying last year, some reporter goes, "Hey, they're going to build around the future," and he's like, "What's wrong with that?" You guys don't remember that?
yeah, because he
Yeah, I
thought he was the
remember that.
future.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe, but
Yeah,
Touche.
either way, he is
you know,
mysteriously not ready for preseason this year, even though
He
Sciatica.
he's,
just well, he had an injury, right? He had surgery, didn't
yeah, supposedly.
you
Or
never know
not
with you never know
supposedly.
with him.
He might have waited to have the surgery so that it is now,
Yeah, yeah,
instead of suiting up. But for some guy that's, the longevity that he's had, this has never really happened before. Just saying. It might be a little protest, a little mini protest, but
yeah.
they're gonna need him if they're gonna be successful. That's the
Honestly,
truth.
I don't think so. I think they would be better off without him. I think that
I disagree.
if you can trade him and get some hungry players, you can get a power forward. Luca can score. You don't need LeBron. LeBron's not the great facilitator that everybody tries to pretend he is. You know, I think that if you can bring in a nice little point guard and a good power forward, and get something out of LeBron, I think they make a better run. I think he's JJ Redick is obviously scared of LeBron, so he's always playing nice. So until JJ Redick can either coach or just get rid of him, find someone who actually wants to coach. But I just I don't. All I can say is I watch the guy. He goes, and you can't say you haven't been surrounded by talent. He's been surrounded by talent his whole career. Once he left to Miami, that's all he's done is been surrounded by talent. I mean, but uh, I don't think that guys like playing with him. I just I think when you watched him, he was off the court and they're on the court with Luca last year. Guys were playing a lot harder than they were when he was on the court. So that's just my take on it from the games that I watched. That I think they're ready for the transition. I think it's like, okay, it's time to put this to bed and let's go get some rings. So we'll see.
We will see. We will see. We'll do a
he?
preview
Shall
next
see.
week or the next time we're on, as far as we'll do some predictions as far as who we think's going to go to the NBA
Love
finals,
it.
etc. Too early. Too early for that. But that's all I had to talk about with sports. Did you guys want to talk about anything else? Sports related? No? All right. Silence is confirmation.
I get nothing.
Yeah, I got
All
nothing.
right.
I get nothing. We hit all the major ones.
Yeah.
We did, yeah.
Baseball,
Other than
Oh,
Celtics, football.
Miami just went down, number 2 team in the nation. So
Yeah, I saw.
they did
Yeah,
lose? They did
yeah,
lose?
yeah.
24-21. Yeah.
Yep.
So they just fell.
I guess before
So
I should say that, I got my first loss to Chet last week in fantasy
oh
football. He wiped the floor with me.
oh he was up.
Almost doubled me up, which is sad because I had a good run of 5 in a row, and then I ran into a battering ram. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
well,
know what
he's got
happened to
those
my
17
guys.
plays. Got those
I
17
got
plays,
those
baby.
17 plays, man.
That's
He's got
right.
those 17
That's
plays. He's
right,
got
man.
you. He was coaching them up. He was
But
ready for you.
who's Jeff Ombre? Is it because it says
That's
your
me.
name?
You get to tear me up next.
Ooh, I'm playing you
Yeah,
right.
you've already had a good last night.
I did.
Chase had a nice night. He had a good night last night. I was like, damn, this guy.
And I
He's
had a
already,
guy that I don't love. His name is Aaron Rodgers, but he did all right.
yeah, yeah, he did all right too. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, he definitely jumped out to a good start. So I got to hope that the rest of your guys kind of fall flat. So
Yeah, but
so
below their average or
yeah,
below what
I
they're
I
what they're.
I, I was sitting there. I was like, because I checked my fantasy and I didn't realize that was you, And I sit there, I'm like, man, Jamar Chase is killing me. He's killing my Steelers, and he's killing me in fantasy. Like, what the hell? I was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
That's rough.
it's like a double whammy. Like, man, and then I look,
Yeah,
and then you
that's
got Aaron Rodgers too, and I'm like, oh, 4 TDs. I was like, come on, man. So yeah,
Chet's
he had
getting
a
lucky.
really good
He's
third
going
there.
on that streak. Did you call me, Chet, to gloat? Is that why you called
No,
me?
no, that was actually Cameron. Cameron wanted to call you to
Oh,
talk about the Patriots. Yeah.
I figured you'd text me or call me back. I missed the call, not
Yeah.
intentionally, but I saw that I missed it, and then I'm like, well, if he needs something, I'll text him, sure. But
No, Cameron just cried himself to sleep. It was no big deal.
You didn't call back. You had a missed call. You just didn't reach it. Did you text him? You did nothing. You just ignored it.
it was late. It was late even for me on a Sunday. Like
It was
The
like,
next morning, you can't throw a text to say, "Hey, man, everything good?"
I should have. Yeah, you're right. I figured it was him gloating though about
Oh,
demolishing me. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I was
yeah, no,
I was
I
actually
don't
gonna
think that.
say if that was why you called, I had this whole speech prepared about, Chet, you're the champion. You're supposed to have some
Be
dignity and
humble.
class, act like you've been there before, which you have, like it's just one game. I'm
well, let's
still in
check the
first place.
standings.
I'm
Oh
still in
no,
first
well,
place.
technically no, technically you're not. I think I'm in first place. I got the tiebreaker. I've scored more points.
Oh,
Woo!
okay.
Ooh, look at
Well,
that.
I'll
Here we
take.
go.
The
No,
four of us,
we're
the four
we're
people
tied
currently on
for
the.
first right now because the season doesn't end. If the season
So
ended,
why
you
don't
would
you?
hold the tiebreaker.
So there's a listing of rankings. If you're looking at the standings, there's a rankings 1 through 10. Just go ahead and click that number one and tell me whose team's in the number one spot.
I can't see it. You can tell me.
You can't,
It's
I can
you,
see it. It's
I'm
mine.
sure.
It's my team.
Yeah,
It's my
it's
team.
good. It's
I'm
good.
looking at it right now. It's
What
beautiful.
week is it? How many
Want me to
more
do a
weeks do we
screen
have?
share? Want me to
I
do a
would love
screen
it.
share so
If you
you
do a
You
can
screen
can,
see it
share,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
want
yourself?
to
you
see it.
can.
I
I
want to
probably
see it.
won't be able to see it because of the quad screen.
Let's go points. So I'm number one. Chet Bowen happens to be the second highest scoring team in this league.
Yeah, that's good.
Nate, Hefe Hombre. So Jose's 3. Nate, you're 4.
Yeah, it's okay. I've barely won some games. It's okay. I'll take
I've
it.
gotten
Yeah,
lucky.
no. You grind it up.
I've
You grind
I've
it up.
I've scored the.
Some nail
Yeah,
biters.
I like this.
Do we want to talk? Oh, I do want to ask how you guys feel about firing a coach midseason, whether it's professional, whether it's college. I feel a certain way about it in college for sure. But I just don't see how it's productive to do that. You went into the season with certain expectations. Those expectations may not be met, but like there's other parameters besides winning and losing that are established when you're a coach, right? I just think that coaches should be allowed to finish out the season because again, they can. It's if we say any given Sunday, if we say next man up, it doesn't, however we want to say it, like you got to play the games and a coach should be able to inspire players to play hard. But again, yes, are there certain circumstances where a coach has lost the locker room and you probably fire him? You feel like you can get a jolt by bringing in an interim who's a coordinator that everybody loves in the building and they'll play hard for him, sure. But I just don't understand. Well, I'll use Penn State as an example. James Franklin, like, why do you fire the guy? Yes, he lost three in a row. It's not the first time in his coaching career
Well, I
prior
can
to
answer that
you.
one.
Well, I
I
mean,
can answer that one. I will tell you this as my brother is a Penn State alum. I have other friends who are Penn State alum, and it's this was a long time coming with James Franklin because if you go back historically in big games against top 10, 15 teams, he does not win. He just finds a way to lose. He
it was the same at Vanderbilt, though. He's not good
well,
against ranked opponents.
but at Vanderbilt, the excuse is we don't have the money, we don't have the talent, we don't. He had Micah Parsons, he had Saquon Barkley, he's had so much talent that's in the NFL, and he's underachieved. So when I sit down, Penn State fans are like, we need we got to be able to beat somebody in the top 10. Yeah, we made a playoff run, but if you look at all their wins, they didn't beat anybody that was ranked higher than 15. Anybody 15 and up, they were over. And that's over the last 3 or 4 years. So yeah, he wins a lot of games, but Penn State is going to be like, we want national championship. We want, and it's
Well,
not
you
like
could argue that he's the Mike Tomlin of college, right?
yeah.
Like that's
But again, I'm not a fan of Tom. I think it's time for him to go.
No, I know,
I think that you fire him earlier in the season so that you can go and say, okay, let's see who's interested, because there's going to be people calling. There's going to be people. Matt Rule is already interested.
Matt Rule can't win against ranked opponents. Like he's not doing anything spectacular in Nebraska.
Well,
so
okay,
so
but
why
you
do
gotta
you fire
understand,
the guy
but
and not have
you got to remember, Matt Rule's a builder. He went to Temple, built them. They won a conference title. This that.
he went to the
Baylor,
Carolina Panthers. Didn't build shit.
Well, he's not an NFL guy. He's a college guy.
Oh,
He went to Nebraska, and I'm a Nebraska fan. We couldn't win one-score games. Well, guess what? We won one-score games last year, went to a bowl game. He's having a good year again this year. But I'm with you. He's not. I don't think he's better than Franklin, but I think that he's a Penn State guy. He's a Penn State alum, played at Penn State. He's got all those ties, so he's there. But you got a guy like Signetti in Indiana. He just got paid because of it. There's guys out there
going to Penn State.
But you go look at some of those guys out there who, there's some good coordinators out there. But his problem, James Franklin's problem, is when you play a quality opponent, he has not shown, and they found a way to lose. Like, they winning games, or they've had the ball driving down, and they're right there in scoring position, and they find a way to blow the game. And that's why Penn State was like, we can't do this no more. It's just too frustrating. I wouldn't have fired him. I thought that he's a solid coach, unless you had someone already in hand that you knew, I'm getting this guy. But, I understand it. Like, having so many friends and family that are Penn State fans, they were ready for that guy to leave last year. So.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, I think not that I would say that Penn State has a higher opinion of themselves than everybody else. So you got to read the room, right? Like that is the second coach that they had that had to go into people's houses and convince them to let their sons come play at a school that was convicted or had a convicted child molester.
Well, technically that's not true because Jerry Sandusky was retired, and Joe Paterno hated Jerry Sandusky, didn't like the guy. It was the board of directors and everybody else.
Little boys in their locker room.
Yes, he was.
This is semantics.
But here's what I'm trying to say is that he should never have been around, and there was people who didn't want him around, but people who wanted to make money, and because he was living off the 86 national championship when they beat Miami, or 87, they liked him. But he retired early because Paterno didn't like him. People didn't like him, and the problem I had was, like, the assistant coach. Why did he get railed? Dude, you were in there hearing this kid getting taken to town in the shower, and you slam a locker and leave. Why was nobody on him? You could have stopped that. You could have walked into that shower and beat the hell out of that old man. Nobody says anything about that coach. You got the janitors who were there who saw it. Nobody says anything to those guys. Like, there was a lot of people who were in line that should have done something and didn't. So I don't want to pin it on the majority of Penn State in a blanket statement. I want to pin it on the people. And I would put those people's faces on TV and say, hey, you were in there, you saw it happening, you did nothing. I would convict them. You were just as guilty as they were, because you were almost like an accomplice because you allowed it to happen.
Agree. The 100%. I will not argue that.
I thought the first hire, the Patriots guy, was a great hire. Thought he was amazing. He was a great. He is the one that kept that afloat, because if he doesn't keep it afloat, there's nothing for James Franklin. He convinced guys to stay, and then he got convinced guys to come. those first couple years, and he kept Penn State afloat. So,
Agreed. None of what happened was relevant
eh,
to the players that were
yeah,
there.
yeah, and so
But
you sit
going
down and
into
I,
somebody's house and trying to
yeah,
convince them to let their sons come to your
yeah,
school
because you
after
don't want that,
after the
yeah,
scandal comes out, like
yeah,
that's a difficult
yeah.
job in
And
itself.
I
Like,
look, but I give credit, like everyone say James Franklin. No, Bill O'Brien, that guy when he came in, he was 2 feet in the fire. It
yeah,
was all coming at him. And so if anybody saved Penn State, if anybody kept them, relevant, it was him. And Penn State should be out there, hey, that dude should get a free meal and free tickets and whatever the hell he wants, because that dude saved Penn State.
yeah, I
James
don't think
James
James
Franklin
Franklin
built off of
saved
Yeah.
him.
it. I don't
Yeah,
think he
No.
saved it. I just think his job was made more difficult
yeah, yeah.
by
But
everybody
it,
at Penn State that looked the other way when all of
yeah,
that was going on, and then it comes out and
yeah,
it's relevant to him now because he has to deal with it
yeah.
because it's
Well, it's
all over
and
the
he kind
news.
of, but it's not as bad as it was, and it was not. It worked in his favor that a lot of the paternals were cleared. They got rid of the people in the board of directors and all that were complicit. They got rid of a lot of all those people who turned a blind eye, and so
Yeah.
he didn't have to deal with like Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien, like that dude, every
Yeah.
day that dude was
Well,
answering a question about that. So
I
to
just
that
think,
what he did with his recruiting was amazing,
yeah,
amazing.
I just think that there's let him finish the season, or let's get to the last couple games. And if you want to fire him before they get to a bowl game, fine. If he earns the bowl game, I'm not saying you let him coach, but like, I just don't. Again, college is a little different because again, you're trying to convince kids to come and
Yeah,
buy into your program, even with
It's
NIL
not just
now.
that though.
Well,
You're
no,
trying to
it's
get
not.
kids
But
to stay there too, right? So
yeah,
yes, with the
the
transfer
temperature in the
portal,
locker
yes,
room,
with the
yeah,
transfer portal as
it's
well.
big money now. There's a lot of money
yeah,
being spent. You've got donors that are involved in it. College football is a big business, and if
yeah,
they feel like he's not got the ear of his current players, or that if
yeah,
his big players are going to leave, because they come into this year, I mean, they were one of the top teams in the nation, so
Yeah.
they've got big talent, big recruits that they're
yeah,
going to want to stay there for a couple of years, and if they
yeah,
don't feel like he's got those kids' ears, then that's why you're getting rid of him mid-season, because you're
yeah.
trying to hold on to that guy.
Yeah, I think he lost the locker room. I honestly do. I watching their last game and the effort that those guys played with, I just don't think they wanted to play for Franklin anymore. I don't believe it. And I think you fire him early because now everybody that's out there is going to be like, okay, we know we have this job. We know they got resources. We know they got talent. You know, now you have more opportunity. I don't like UCLA. They fired their coach. It turned out better. And since they fired him, they're 2-1.
Yeah, two
So
and one.
you know, so
And
you
they
sit
beat
down,
his first game. He beat Penn State,
yeah,
right?
and what's crazy is they put up like 40 some points on Penn State. They were up and
Yeah,
down the field,
yeah,
So for Penn State, I think you're looking at the long term, the long game, saying we need to get the best guy, and in order to get the best guy, we need to open it up now. So um, I sit down like the NFL. I think the NFL you should give the guy the whole season. I think I thought the Titans didn't give Callahan a fair shot. He took over a mess, and then you expect it to be cleaned up because Cam Ward came. Well, that doesn't work that way. It just
yeah. I just think that the best guy is Nick Saban, who's not going to take that job. The
no,
the second best guy was Signetti, who's not going to take that job because Indiana just bought him.
yeah,
His lifetime. Uh, Third guy might have been Freeman, Marcus, the guy that coaches Notre Dame. I don't know, but they're going to do the same thing. I guarantee you that
no,
Indiana just did, and sign him to an
yeah.
extension. Like,
I mean, it's they've got the resources, so anybody who feels like I need to upgrade, they can go upgrade. And Urban Meyer is always out there lurking, even though he's as shady as it can be.
I don't think he would take that. I honestly don't think he would take that job unless he was
Uh,
offered an ungodly, like Nick Saban money, like
yeah,
money to pull a
yeah,
coach out of the booth
yeah,
that doesn't want to coach anymore. Like, and I think that's overpaying, and I don't think.
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
Urban Meyer's out of touch with coaching more so than Nick Saban, and I wouldn't
yeah.
want
Oh,
him.
Nick Saban's got his hand in there. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
I mean, again, it goes back to, you got to find someone who's hungry. You got to, you know, I think you go and find that guy. I mean,
well, they're gonna find
and
somebody, but I still think they could have found their person before the season ended, and then before the season ends, you let the coach go or let him know he's not going to be retained. He
yeah,
gets his 50 million still. Like, good for him, man. He gets a buyout. He can go get double paid. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another job. I think he will. He's
oh,
a
he'll
good
get
enough
another
coach.
job. He'll
And
get
he
another job.
comes he ends up on Penn State's doormat and ends up beating him
Yeah,
in a substantial way.
I think you'll get another job. But I'm with Wally. If you lose the locker room, especially those young kids, you got to let them go. College is totally different than NFL. Those guys are professionals, and these guys are kind of professionals because they're getting paid, but they're not professionals.
Yeah.
So, if you lose those kids, it's it's not gonna. Do you want to be Penn State and you were supposed to be making a run at a national championship and then go 5-6, 5-7 and not make a
Yeah.
bowl game? I think you make that change. So I don't know. I mean, there's going to be interesting who they hire. Um, there's talk that Dabo Sweeney's in trouble in Clemson. I don't know how, but you know, so we'll see. We'll see how this plays out this year.
Oh,
Coach O, Coach O.
he's probably in trouble because of his demeanor. He's acting like you know, his past performance is what should keep him employed, and it's not true. Like, accept the fact that you need to correct some things. You're doing
Yeah,
terrible. Your team's underperforming, and it's your fault. And not like, well, we've been winning for the past 9 years, and that should give me something. You guys shouldn't be telling me that we're playing bad now. Like, that's
yeah,
that's no way to like. That's irrelevant. What you did in the past is irrelevant. That earns you some respect, but you still have to answer the questions about why you're underperforming, and
yeah,
everybody agrees that you're underperforming, and not be an asshole about it when asked. Like, you
yeah. I
know,
mean, I think he needs to have a sense of humility. But like I said, I mean, he's did a lot of winning there, but I think
no,
he's not Nick Saban, and I think Nick Saban set the bar so high that it's hard for guys. I mean, even Kirby Smart, who's having a lot of success at Georgia, you
yeah,
know, he's kind of like, you're kind of a Nick Saban, a
yeah.
Timo's Nick Saban, and it's unfortunate because the guy's a great coach. He wins a
Oh,
lot of
they're
games, and so it's like the poor guy. It's like unfortunately you were under Saban and you're this, and so
oh the college ranks is littered with coaches that were really good and couldn't beat like Nick Saban or couldn't beat
yeah,
Miami, couldn't beat
yeah,
Ohio State, couldn't beat Michigan. Like,
yeah,
there are only a few coaches and teams that will beat
yeah,
those coaches and teams. Like, it's okay that you are successful 90% of the time. And even when it was on the biggest stage, you lost to the team that is always better. Like,
yeah.
it's
No, I agree with
it
you.
is
I
what
mean,
it
Ohio
is.
State is Ohio State.
Yeah.
They. I agree with you.
All right, we can stop talking sports if y'all want to, or I mean, we don't have anything else to talk about as far as sports. Do y'all have anything politically slash whatever's going on in the world or in your world personally that you guys want to talk about?
Big
Yeah, it's
rally
fine.
tomorrow. The no kings is tomorrow all across the
Yeah,
country. Have you followed
it's a
that at
big
all?
day. Yeah, it's a big day for that.
No, what's
I,
that?
I, I find those humorous.
It's a rally. It's a protest. I'm not certain what you call it. It's an anti-Trump
A
nationwide
demonstration?
demonstration rally.
I actually don't
I guess
even.
it depends who you ask.
Yeah, I don't even think it's anti-Trump. I think it's anti like
Yeah,
watching how everything moves in one direction and how rights are being. I'm saying perception is that rights are being stripped away from people, and so the courts, the checks and balance system is starting to fail. Trump may be the leader of that, but he's a symptom of it as opposed to the number one cause. So they're doing the whole no kings thing because usually it's always like 50-50. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, but right now it seems to be that the scales are tilted in one direction. All the the redistricting thing and the whole Supreme Court being conservative, it's been tough on the
Well, I would say that the Texas redistricting is kind of a misconception because Texas was forced to redistrict because they were sued, they lost in court, and the court said you have to redistrict. That's why they redistricted. They didn't just go wake up one day and say, you know what, we're gonna get rid of some blue seats. They actually lost it. They actually lost a court case, and so they were forced to redistrict. Like Gavin Newsom's redistricting because he wants to. Texas was done.
Be that as it may, they didn't have to chop it up in such a way that quite clearly divides up your biggest blue base to benefit all the red states. So they may have been legally obligated to do that. They were not legally obligated to make it so one-sided.
The irony of it is, it was a guy who was a Democrat who filed a lawsuit and won, and it's like you kind of bit yourself in the ass. So
Democrats are idiots.
Yeah,
nobody's arguing that.
But yeah, so to me, I think that one was.
Aren't you both Democrats?
That one was kind of handed.
We're both liberal. We're not Democrats.
Yeah, that was kind of handed to Texas. I think that kind of handed Texas, hey, we can redistrict it, and they did it in the way they did it. But they were kind of given an open by the court, said, hey, you're going to fix this, and then did they really fix it? I don't know. All I can say is that they were forced to do it. It's kind of
here's the thing about redistricting in general. I think it ought to be a mathematical equation and not like you shouldn't be able to gerrymander the way the state legislatures can. Like, it ought to just be like straight lines that are divided up in some way you can figure out mathematically or like equally. It shouldn't be able to be manipulated the way it has, and because we cannot trust politicians to run these elections or to district these states in a way that's fair. I don't care. Like, even if I'm liberal, I just want it to be fair. Chop it up, make it straight lines, figure it out, and then go that way. Like, let's enough with this bullshit. It's so stupid. The way some of these state maps are cut up is so, and it's both sides. Like, it's
I agree with you.
They both do it.
It's
disgusting, and it makes zero sense.
I agree.
Preach. I agree with you 100%. I agree 1,000%. Because some of these maps you look at, you're like, how did you even draw that? Like, how did you even come to that conclusion? Like, it doesn't. It's both sides. I agree with you on that too. It's like but I try to tell people they're two sides of the same coin. You want to fix it, put in term limits. And start saying, hey, you know what? You don't get that fancy retirement anymore unless. And like with the military, NATO'll tell you it's move up or move out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if you ain't moving up in your position in the Senate, the Congress, or whatever, get the hell out. Go find a job in the private sector.
And that's all federal employees. All federal employees.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I you know what I mean? It's like, hey, you need to be like, hey, 20 years is enough. You need to get out. If you can't walk a flight of stairs, you shouldn't be representing us. I mean, there's some people there for 40, 50 years. It's insane.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people. I said, look at the debt, and then look at the people who've been sitting in DC for the last 30, 40 years. And those are the people you need to get rid of on both sides because they've been hanging around too long. So I'm with you, and I'm with you with there's got to be a way to build these maps, district these things equally.
The other thing I will say is that even at football practice, whatever, I'm hearing people talk about how great Trump is, or even rewind to when Obama was in or whatever, right? How great they are and how they're doing all this stuff. And like, thank God we're beating the other side. And the more executive power that a president gets, I want to say this. I warn everyone.
Yeah.
If Trump gets all this executive power and he can do whatever he wants and everyone's cheering right now, when AOC is in there or whatever, she is not going to give that shit back.
I agree.
I have not once has any president, whether they agree with your predecessor or not, they have never given that power back. So let's go back to what we are. Yeah. We're supposed to be a checks and balances system, which is getting, I think, way too much into the executive realm.
Yeah.
it's becoming too much about I mean, and all of them do it.
Yeah,
I, I feel like I have to qualify it by saying all of them do it. They all do. So, like, yeah, if
Yep.
Trump decides to like make sure that the president becomes more like a dictator or king, well, then whatever person is next in line will not give that power back. It's never happened. So I'm just
no.
throwing that out there. It's like let's check ourselves and make sure that we know what we're
Yep.
doing.
I
The
absolutely agree with
pendulum's
you.
going to swing back. Well said. You're 100% correct.
I
Speaking of
100%.
blending sports and politics, did you guys watch the debate that Stephen A. Smith was in?
No, yeah, you said
No.
this earlier. What are we talking
No,
about?
no, yeah, I need to see
You
that. I
didn't
don't know
watch
what
that? You guys should watch it. He was in.
Well,
It was like the not the Bernie Madoff town hall, but there were some. It was all Democrats, and it was a panel of Democratic representatives for states, and they were there was a crowd of people. It was an open mic situation, and like he was pretty frank. He was. I don't know if he was a mediator or just one of the people on the panel, but he was. I mean, I thought some of the stuff that he was saying was very, I don't know, it seemed very logical, which is not what politicians ever do, whether no matter what side they're on. But for instance, the highlight that I saw was a guy who was a federal employee and was talking about him not getting paid, etc. And he had to go do he had to leave after he asked the question. He had to go leave to do DoorDash so that he could pay for his daughter's tuition. But Stephen A. Smith went on a rant about all of y'all up here are still getting paid, and why is that? You know, and he actually talked about term limits, and he talked about it was pretty profound actually coming from somebody again who has a big voice in sports that could
now.
you know, translate into him potentially having a political career. think he's dabbled in that area. I don't know how you guys see it or how you guys feel about it, but
how old is he actually? Because they made a joke a couple of days ago on ESPN that he's 70, or is he actually 70?
his hairline makes him look 70. He's not 70.
Yeah,
No,
okay. All right.
He's-
yeah.
no, he is
I,
not 70. Why?
and
I
Would that
think
but that's what makes you a candidate, right? For
yeah.
a Democratic nominee, you got to be over 70, right?
80. It's 80 now.
You know what he
yeah,
is? He's a really good communicator. So
Yeah.
I
yeah,
think politics right now are just filled to the brim with people who are really good at communicating their viewpoint. And he's that. I mean, uh, the Ukraine president there, Zelensky, was a talk show host, right? He was a good communicator. Trump, let's be honest, did something to resonate. He came from the media standpoint. I think
yeah,
AOC, this mayor that's about to be elected in New York City. I
See?
yeah.
don't know how to pronounce his name.
Donnie.
Young Donnie.
Is he doesn't have a resume. He's just a really good communicator.
Yeah,
So, like, I think that if you're a guy who's able to articulate your point and do so effectively, you're able to gain a momentum and gain followers. And there's a lot of people who are just really good communicators without the resume to back it up. And it's an
yeah,
effective way to lead. I mean, that's what Charlie Kirk was, right? Charlie Kirk was a really, really good communicator. He was
yeah,
very good standing up there, making his point heard, arguing with other people. And if Stephen A or anybody can do that and can do that effectively, there's career politics for you, 100%.
yeah. I
And
agree with you.
there's a guy on this podcast right now named Wally who's a pretty good communicator.
Yeah,
I'm not running for. I don't like.
He
I
doesn't.
got a wife and kids. I love my
yeah,
family. I'm not running for politics.
yeah. I would
There's
say
only one.
I think both. I think the problem with both sides is that they're so busy trying to oppose the other that they're not trying to
Mhm.
figure out what works best.
Yeah.
And I think if we can work
Yep.
for the best interest, then we can get somewhere.
Be
You know,
nice.
you can't like again, like I think didn't Trump just settle that whole Israel Hamas thing? You
No,
know, no.
I wish he did. He said he
I know he's doing stuff with it. So like to me, instead of fighting with him, they should unite with him and say, hey, you need to listen to our side too. So let's work together to fix this. Instead of saying, well, we're going to do, if you say this, we're going to go this way. We're going anything you say, we're going the opposite way. And I think if you can say, hey, let me get your ear, let's have a conversation, let's find something that works for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I think in this term versus his first term, he's more open to listening than he was before because he's had people in his ear and he's had people who don't agree with him go on in there and talk with him and have pleasant conversations with him, which is, Bill Maher is one of them. He hated Trump. Went in and had a conversation. He goes, actually, we had a good conversation. And he's like, I think he's open to conversation if you want to have it, but you got to come with legitimate answers, legitimate solutions, or he's just going to ignore you. And that's where I look at it. I think both sides need to put down their weapons and say, okay, let's sit down and have conversations and figure out how do we fix this? You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
because there's
I hear you there. I think that I mean, like Trump, like any president, they're going to be overanalyzed, and there's going to be judgment on them one way or another about what they're doing. I do think that there's some evidence to show that if you make Trump feel good about himself, whether it's foreign policy or other things that affect a lot of us, he will make a decision in your favor, right? Like
yeah.
I think we've seen that. To me, that seems incredibly petty and not something I feel great about. Like that someone's like, here, Trump, have an award from Israel, or here, Trump, have an award from the Strip. Here, Trump, have an award from Ukraine. And something's like, you know what? Now, you know what? Those Ukrainian people, they're onto something. Like, so I do think, and I could be wrong, right? I'm just saying, like, my perception of it is that if you flatter the man, he's more likely to be on your side and he can switch literally 2 days later. To me, that's terrifying. So whoever is better at making him feel good about himself is going to get the power of the United States behind them. Damn, that's scary to me.
You
Just,
got to kiss the ring. You got
but
to
you get,
kiss the ring, right? You got to kiss the ring.
yeah.
I mean, I mean, you can't, I think that's with any politician. I think every politician wants you to sit down there and pet their ego because they really think they're smarter than the rest of us, you know?
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah,
and so,
I mean,
but I mean, when you watch the guy, you watched him his whole life, he's been that way. He's always been kiss the ring kind of guy,
that doesn't
even
mean it's
before,
right.
even before he got in politics. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying he hasn't deviated from who he was, even from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s before he got into politics. He's pretty much been, his personality's pretty much been the same. So, I mean, I just kind of look at it like, okay, you knew what you were getting. I think you just needed to figure out how to make it work for you. But that's in any business that you're in. You got to read the room and say, okay, how can I make this? How can I use this to work? Get things going in my favor. So, Biden was kind of not there. So we don't know who was running Biden, but Obama liked that. Obama liked when people kind of petting his ego and telling him how awesome he was. The dude got a Nobel Prize before he did anything.
Well, so that's my point, right? Rewind. Obama got a Nobel Prize.
Yeah, and like in his first year. How do you get a Nobel Prize in your first year?
But was he screaming to the media that he deserves a Nobel Prize? No. Trump.
No, but he got one simply because of, I don't know why he got one. Other than, I mean, it may sound racist to say, but he got one because he was half black.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he got one either. Actually,
but
I remember.
But I mean, Trump. I mean, you've seen the guy. You know how he was. I think that this time around, he doesn't throw the tantrums and all the stuff like he did the first time. First time, he was on the media just losing his mind.
I think he's worse this time. And honestly, he's like screaming with the Nobel Peace. The person who won the Nobel Peace Prize was like, "Please don't come at me, Trump. You deserve it. You should have it. I'm sorry. I wish I never got it. Like, you deserve it." That's
yeah. I mean, I mean, again,
okay.
it doesn't surprise me with him, but again, when I think 20 years down the 15, 10, 15, even 10 years down the road, we'll see the effects of everything, in that sense. So, in hindsight, when you start looking back, stuff starts coming out, you start seeing the warts that all these guys had. So, and we haven't really, like I said, presidents are only, at max 8 years. I think we needed, the conversation needs to be steered towards those sitting there way too long,
Agreed.
So
No, I can't disagree on that. I agree with you on that. Man, always fun stuff.
If Trump could
Yeah.
pull off a Ukraine-Russia peace deal, boy, oh
Oh,
boy, it'd be tough to deny him the next Nobel Peace Prize because
I would
that's
right.
vote
what their
for him.
focus is now. He's looking to mitigate that
Yeah,
as
I
That's what
mean,
he
well. So we'll
wants. That's
see.
why he's doing it.
I
We'll
mean,
see.
you know, I mean,
So,
if it helps better the world, then let's
Hmm.
get to it. You know what I
All
mean?
we care
So
about.
yeah.
We all live in the same.
Jose,
what's up?
besides, or all of you, but besides the fact that the Secretary of War called all of the leaders of the free world's armies and navies and air force and
Hmm.
POTUS in one location at one time. What did you think about his little charade on about standards and calling out generals that are walking through uh, the Pentagon, etc.? What did you think about that?
I'm not. What do you mean about their appearance or their?
Oh, he went into a charade about essentially not changing the standard, going to a non-gender specific standard, or if a female wants to be in special operations, for instance, she's got to meet the male standard. Uh,
Well, to me,
all kinds of different
I
things.
will say this to me, if you're going to be a special operations ranger, you're going to be infantry, then you should meet the male standard. Now, if you're finance, you're a paralegal, it's a different animal, But I was never like we were signal, and we had some guys who were a little plump, but they were really good at their job, and it's like that's more of a mind job. So, do I really need to sit down and say I need this guy to be able to run 2 miles this fast when he's going to sit behind a computer all the time? No, I don't.
Yeah.
You know,
Well
I
said.
I
I
I
agree.
I think it should be job specific. You should sit down and say if you're going to be out there humping 100-pound rucks and carrying all this ammo and kicking down doors, yeah, you need to be strong. You need to be able to carry your buddy to your left or right. But if again, if your job is accounting, your job is finance, it's not the same. It's not. It's just different. It's a different animal. So it's hard
More
for me to
important,
go, oh, that finance clerk, they need to do what the men do. No, that's a totally different animal. So
and to me, more importantly than the message is the way it was delivered. Like it just doesn't. They called everyone together. They televised it. They immediately put it all on the internet. Is that how we're doing policy now? Like
yeah,
I'm okay with different governments decided to go different directions from a
yeah,
policy perspective. That's their prerogative, right? Whether
yeah,
it's a Republican or a Democrat, that's their prerogative. They won the election. You
yeah,
make the rules. But do you have to televise it and quite clearly do it all the pomp and circumstance
yeah,
to get up
that,
in front of the stage,
yeah,
pull all the leaders in? Like, what are we doing? Like, this isn't how it
yeah,
should be done in my eyes. It shouldn't
yeah,
be for the public consumption. It should be for the benefit of the entity. In which
yeah,
case, that was the
yeah,
military. That doesn't make sense to me, and I will never be on board with that.
yeah. I didn't
Well,
enjoy the I didn't
Wally,
enjoy the theater.
everything's for public consumption unless it's a classified briefing. Like that is, there's no way of getting around that. And I will say, the Secretary of
How many of your
Defense or
how
the
many of your
Secretary,
meetings were how many of your meetings were televised and then immediately put on the internet?
well, let me take it. Let me downgrade it from there. How many of the people that I talked in front of went on social media and commented about the things that I said? Probably all of them at one point or another, or made a comment about not liking that someone's holding them to the standard. Like that is a real thing. So
Yeah,
it's gonna go both ways, and it's gonna be public consumption
yeah,
at some point or another. I say that to say I don't necessarily agree with the way that he did it, like you, but I will also say I think I would stand behind him more so than every other Secretary of Defense that has sat in his office because he's not a general officer. He is a field grade officer, and the difference between the two are very, very circumstantial. Meaning, a general officer normally has been fed a silver spoon when we're talking about how they were brought into the military prior to and then getting into the military. The silver spoon. I you might disagree, Jose, but I feel like again, once you're a general officer, that's a totally different ballgame, and they're very different soldiers, right? He is
Yeah.
technically a
Well,
soldier. He's closer to us than he is a
yeah,
general officer because he was special forces as well, and he's been
yeah,
on the ground in any whatever the capacity it is. I don't know his war stories. I don't need to. I can
yeah.
see by
I
his
think that,
demeanor, see the way that he
yeah,
carries himself. He's closer to me than he is any of those general officers that are walking
yeah,
around. And in my opinion, those general officers are resting on their laurels, meaning those general officers are the ones that have that ranger tab that aren't ranger qualified. They went through the school. They've never been in a ranger unit. So
yeah.
they've never actually been ranger qualified. So anyway, I
I think
agree with what he
I think
said. It
I think
needed to be said.
recently we've had a lot of generals who have made decisions to go be popularity and not with. I'm a
Yeah.
standard is a standard. I'm a
Mhm.
I'm a guy who, unless you absolutely really need a shaving profile, you should. There's too many people running around with beards now. There's too many people running around with long hair now. There's too many. You watch. I mean, there's too many fat soldiers. I was, matter of fact, I was on Lackland today. I'm looking at some of these chunky Air Force guys, and I'm like, when did this become okay? So I think saying, hey, we represent the United States of America, and we can no longer our buttons can't be getting ready to burst because we're so plump is not a bad thing. We need to shave because we want to present an image that we are fit and we're well taken. We take good care of ourselves. I don't have a problem with that. Again, I'm with Wally. I don't like the theater of it. We didn't need to the whole pomp and circumstance. You could have just simply put out, "Hey, this is what it is. This is what's going to be," and then let it be like that. And you said the same thing. But I'm with you. I don't. We've kind of shifted, and we've allowed. It's the same thing with the headgear. You see, oh, I see these people with this. I saw a girl. She had this huge hat on. It barely fit her because she had so much hair. And I'm
Yeah.
like, back in the day, that would have never. We would have been like, you know what? You're going to get rid of that hair. You're either going to get rid of that hair or you're going to make that fit properly. And it looks sloppy. It looks unkept. And
It
so
does.
I'm okay with him. Hey, the standard. But again, when it comes to as far as like physical fitness and all that, I think that we need to say, hey, let's take a look at what the job they're doing. Is it really? And I've always been taped since I was in the army because I was a thick guy, and I
Hmm.
always thought to myself, it's kind of weird, if I can score a 300 PT test, why am I on the chopping block? If I can run, ruck, and do all this stuff, and I'm physically fit and I can do all this stuff, you know what I mean? But you got this
Yeah.
guy here who can't carry a ruck, 2 blocks, but he can run really fast. But we're gonna keep him, but not me. I never liked that. That was always a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah,
So
I agree with it. I think I think the message that he put out, it was better to be received face to face with those officers, those
yeah,
general officers, and say, you have let the standard slack. And this is why I'm up here talking about this. Because I agree with you where the guy that again, yes, we were Signal. So those guys that were technically very savvy and needed to do things, they don't need to score 300 on their PT test, but
yeah,
they need to
yeah,
still execute that. They don't
yeah,
need to score 300, but they still need to run 2 miles. If they have a profile for running 2 miles, then they should be out of the military.
yeah.
I
Well, I
don't
mean,
I
again, it goes like with me. Because at the end I was on a profile, so I rode a bike, and there was people who walk. So I'm okay with that. If you can, there was always a standard. You had to ride your bike X amount of time, or you had to walk 2.5 miles in X amount of time. Meet the standard. I just want the standard upheld. I don't care if you have that profile and you have to do the walk instead of the run, but then you need to meet that standard. That's the standard for the walk. So I'm all about standard. Meet the standard, and
yeah,
and we can get where we're going. And
same.
I believe I'm one of those. You should look presentable in uniform. You shouldn't have the you shouldn't look like I hate to say it, but uh, Chris Farley,
The Stay
you
Puft
know,
Marshmallow Man.
you shouldn't look like Chris Farley in a uniform. You know what I mean? That's it's embarrassing. That's not what our military should look like. So I think
Don't you think,
there's a standard of look and appearance, and I think we need to get back to that. I think that's been lost. So
which is totally fine. I understand everything, but I think the problem with the administration in general has been the predictable corporate power move. Because everything you guys are talking about, absolutely, but like, does it have to be broadcast to the United States? Do you have to get all do you have to get all these powerful generals, every single person that we know that has power, that has authority, all in one place just to show that you can? So this guy can get up and tell you we need a better standard? Like you
Yeah,
all
because those are individuals are the ones upholding the standard. That'd be like again addressing saying something to all politicians and not being able to look them in the eye and address say that you are the problem. You are the reason why we are in this predicament, and this is what you need to do to fix it. Like President Trump doesn't he addresses everybody, in that manner, and then he'll go and do it, in a non-public forum, but I think that that was needed because again, it's you're telling leadership what needs to happen and how they have let it get to this situation that you're currently in, and then this is the way forward. Like again, did it need to be public? Probably not, but I don't have it. I don't have an issue with it. I think we're also still in the soft era, and we'll never go back to it being any other way. But we're still like the military is different, man. Like those guys sitting in that room with him, they gave up their right, some of their rights that are in the Constitution to join the military and wear that uniform. They can't say certain things in that uniform. They can't express certain things in that uniform. Otherwise, it's detrimental, right? So again, they're there to serve that individual as well as everyone else in their chain of command. So
yeah,
I like it. I like that they were put in their place and told what they have done to fail up to this point and the path to move forward. Could it have been done differently, meaning more articulate, not calling people fat? Like, sure, he could have been more sensitive, but it's the military. I don't,
I
I
don't
don't,
even care about
So
being
can I
sensitive.
make a counterpoint?
of course you can.
So I think that when it comes to sensitive subjects like that, and the importance of having the right person for the right job, isn't it more important to have the very best person? So I guess my question is, should the standards that you have to uphold, and I agree with Jose and I agree with you that there should be standards for the jobs, but should the standards not reflect the job you're being asked to do, right? Meaning that if there's someone who is manning a drone and they're the best goddamn drone operator in God's green earth, but their fat ass can't get off that chair. But they can operate that drone far better than anybody else. Shouldn't that person be the one that gets that job because the standards of that job requires it to do? And I guess that's the only point I have. So if as people age and become less physically capable, shouldn't they be allowed to not have to meet certain standards? Because that's not why a general's a general. It's not so he
I'm
can
glad
run a
you
five
asked.
minute mile.
I'm
It's so
glad
that
you
he can
asked.
think clearly and be the best in the moment at that time.
So the standards taper in a way to where let's use the scoring scale. It tapers in a way to like right about where you're at 24, 28 years old. That's the peak of your physical fitness ability, right? That's the
No,
highest.
not me. No.
That's the highest. Essentially,
I just
that's the
keep getting
highest.
better. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, too bad you didn't join the military. You could have helped us out. Uh, but how the scale works as far as age is at we'll go to 32. Like at 32, that's the peak of your physical fitness performance, meaning you need to run the fastest that you've ever run in order to score 300. If you were to get younger, it would taper down slightly, but as you get older, it also tapers down. So it peaks, right? It's like a triangle. So
yeah,
when you're younger, you still need to meet that standard, and that standard is at your age at your age group, wherever you're at, for that
Slides down.
standard
All
for
right, fair.
each one.
That
So it
makes
goes
sense.
up to 32 and then comes down as you
Yeah.
age. But again, like it's the military. You got in by meeting a standard. It is your job. It is leadership's job to make sure that you maintain that standard.
Continue that standard.
That is how we
Yeah.
continue to be the best fighting force in the world, right? Like because
Yeah.
we not only meet that standard, it is our job to exceed that standard daily. Like the standard is the
I
baseline.
gotcha.
We
No,
want to
top,
exceed it.
And the point
Yeah.
is, if you live that by that standard every day, you're never going to get to the point where you can't physically do that standard.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be the fat ass running the.
Yeah.
Correct. And I
Again,
don't
yeah.
So
care. I
that
don't
makes
care if
sense.
they're fat. I don't care if they're fat or they look fat. If they can still meet the standard. I was when I was in as a first sergeant, I was always trying to talk to whoever I could about changing the requirement for flagging people. Like if this guy can score 300 on his PT test, but he fails height and weight, I shouldn't flag him. I shouldn't.
Yeah.
The army shouldn't tell me that I need to flag them. This
Yeah.
system that we use, that is our HR database, shouldn't tell me that I need to flag him because he's excelling, right? He's not just meeting the standard.
Has
He's
that
excelling.
situation occurred? Have you had
Yeah,
to flag
Yeah,
someone who runs
yeah.
300?
I haven't been Master Fitness and had to do the overweight program myself. Like Nate, you run into that. You got guys who are physically they can do everything. There was a guy, and I hope he doesn't get mad at me use his name. He's in California now. He got out. His name was Seth Ramos. He would 300 PT score over and over and over, but he just didn't have a big neck. And so he would always every once in a while he would fail a tape. The dude was physically fit. He could do everything, and then he was really smart at his job. Like
yeah.
outside of he had a little bit
Yeah.
of a belly. The guy was he met every standard. He exceeded every standard. And it's like, and I was like, why are we trying to get rid of this guy? To me that part I did that was one of my least favorite parts because I was like, we
Yeah.
have some really good people, and then you have some turds who just happen to be skinny and can run, but they couldn't walk and chew gum,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they would be, and they would get to stay. It's like, come on, this guy, he can't even turn a screw right, and
Yeah.
we're gonna promote this guy. So yeah, I'm with Nate. There's something needs to be done about that whole. If the guy can physically meet all the standards for rucking, running, PT, or whatever, then I think the whole weight thing is
It
kind of
has
irrelevant.
it has changed now. You can get a waiver, but you need to be in the 90 percentile of the score system, and then chain of command can request a waiver for you if you are overweight.
Yeah.
But you still need to go through the process of going to the nutrition center,
Yeah.
etc. Trying to get just like instead of flagging them after they don't meet the standard 30 days, if they're making marked improvement
Yeah.
through every counseling, every 30 days, the waiver can continue and they can
Yeah.
still be promotable, right? And
Yeah.
that's the great thing now that it should
Yeah,
have
I'm
always
glad
been
that
like that, but
I'm glad that it's working that way, and a lot of it too is like there's a commander's discretion where they could have kind of, hey, we're gonna work with this guy. So I just think like there's some things that are flawed, and I think I'm glad to hear that that's changed, which is good. Um, but yeah, I mean, but I'm okay with gathering all the generals up and putting them in a room and kind of giving them the business. I just don't think I don't think we need the theater of it. But
Mhm.
yeah.
we live in the era of theater now. Everything is a show, and so I hope that we can get back to that. But I don't agree with you that we're gonna start. I think we're seeing more and more people gravitate towards, hey, it's okay to be a little more masculine. It's okay to be, and dealing with your feelings. Yeah, it's okay that you have feelings, but sometimes you need to set that aside. Instead of saying, oh my God, the only thing that matters is my feelings. It's like at some point we need to say, yeah, I acknowledge your feelings, but right now it's not, your feelings aren't relevant. And I think that's something that we have to get back to, and
Yeah.
not everybody's gonna care how you feel. The corporate world, you go to work, they don't care how you feel.
That's a
You
fact.
got a job to do, get the job done, and if you don't get it done,
Yep.
you can get the hell out of here. And they don't care how you feel. So I think that's a lesson. And I was always like that with my kids. like, hey, you can be sad, keep it moving. We're not sit here and waddle in self pity. Oh my God, oh boo hoo. No, get over it. Suck it up, move on,
We
Buttercup.
should have done we did a thing on parenting. We should have wish you
Uh,
would have been on here.
oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Jose, you know what I do in my house? I have 3 rooms, specifically designed as a safe space for when you feel sad, or I have one for when you feel angry, and one for when you feel confused. So, if you ever need some help, Jose, I got you. 31.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got the swag on. You
You
got the
again,
Grizzly swag on.
I
again.
do. I do. The
I
Gotham
hey,
Grizzlies right there.
listen. I grew up in the era of you know, you get spanked, and then if you cry, you're like, oh, you better stop all that crying. I'm gonna give you something to cry about.
Cry about. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Like because you cry
I
about.
you could fall, break your arm, and like and you got in trouble. Like now I got to take
Hey,
you to the hospital, and it's no compassion. There was no
If you-
oh my God, are you okay? They're like,
Oh, I know.
damn it, now I got to go spend money. You got to
I
go to the
gotta pay
hospital,
for.
and
I
then I
gotta
got to
pay for an
drag you around.
X-ray.
Yeah, so I grew up. We didn't. There was no compassion in my era. There was
No,
no
I'm
you
with
know
you.
there was
I understand.
there was you know I was a kids were seen not heard type era. you
Yeah.
know
No. Same.
so
yeah.
yeah, I don't have safe spaces. I don't, I don't care if leave the kids alone. You want to put a dress on, I don't care, but just don't try to involve me in your nonsense. Just let me alone. You can go do whatever you want. I don't care. Live your life as you please. Leave the kids alone. Live a life as you please. You want to do that? Knock yourself out. I don't care less. You know what I
Got it.
mean?
So,
Just please don't try to drag me into it. Because if I accidentally call you sir, don't get mad at me. It's just I'm old and I really just don't have the time to play the game. So,
Yeah.
if anything, just ignore me and say just how he's just old and senile, and keep it moving. So
okay.
that's just
I,
me. I don't care. My son's gay, so and I told him, I said, that is what you are. It's not who you are. Who you are is who I
Yeah.
raised you to be, and that's a good, hardworking young man who shows compassion, empathy, and shows respect to everybody. So that's who you are. I don't care who you lay down with. That's
Yeah.
what you are, and it's
You have
not
two
relevant.
sons, right? Two sons?
Yeah, the one that's
Yeah.
in the army. Yeah. So he's his wife is pregnant again, so he's on baby number 4. So
Oh,
Nice.
fantastic.
yeah,
love
yeah.
that. Love it.
But they're all. Ooh, it's like 5. There, he's got his oldest is going to be 5 in November. Then it's 5, 5, 3, 1, and now another baby. I'm like,
Oh man.
I was
Good
like,
on
bro.
them.
I said, at least you're getting them out of the way. I said, so. Well, I was like, oof, that's a, woo. I said,
Is that the
oof.
last one? Is he gonna get snipped?
I told him, I said, somebody needs to get some kind of birth control going because,
Yeah.
yeah, I said, I love it because I love my grandkids. I said, but bro, you need to pace yourself,
Yeah.
So, but
That's
it's
great.
cool. I'm happy for him, and all I care is his health. I just wanted to be healthy, and but I tell people, I said, you can believe what you want, you can do what you want. I believe that most of us are closer to agreeing on more things than we aren't.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree.
I just feel like some of the media is kind of tries to separate us, but I think if we sit
Yeah.
down in a room and have a conversation, we'd be able to find that compromise and find that happy medium more often than not. So
Yeah,
that's
unless you're in the Senate for 30 years, to your point, because
yeah,
then you're not willing to compromise. You're
yeah,
thinking like, how do I appease my base, which is not your
yeah.
actual base. It's the
It's
person
not
on
even appease your
next to you.
base. It's how do I hold on to this seat so I can keep getting paid
Yep.
and keep getting that
Yeah,
money from the lobbyist, and you know what I mean. You
Yeah.
Yeah.
know,
yeah.
Yeah.
again, yeah, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I mean it's crazy. Like you see, like I've watched a couple of them. They barely walk up the stairs. Like, are you serious? Like you barely can. Like I know you're not reading all these bills because you don't have the stamina to walk a flight of stairs. How are
No.
you reading
Not good.
500-page bill? There's
No.
no way you're reading all 500 pages. There's
Yeah.
No.
absolutely not. You know what I mean? So
25-year-old intern is, and then they're
Possible.
giving
Yeah.
them their interpretation, and that's how things
yeah.
are going. Yeah.
So it's I'm all about term limits. I'm all about hey, but you know what? You're guaranteed retirement after one term is ridiculous. You need to do 20 like the rest of us, or don't get nothing. So, you
Yeah.
know,
I
if
like
it's
it.
good for enough for the
I
military,
like
it's good
it.
enough for you. So, yeah.
Amen.
I agree. I agree.
So,
100%. 100%.
All right, fellas.
We
Are
do
Yeah.
we?
dad jokes.
Am I down to one last question, or do we
Sure.
have
You are.
anything else?
one
Yeah.
last question and then
No.
dad joke, right?
Yeah. Well, no, that is the one last
I was
question.
gonna say
Oh,
that is the
okay.
last question.
There you go.
What do you call a careful wolf?
Careful wolf.
A werewolf.
Oh, all right. I should have. That was just. It was so obvious that.
You guys almost had it, huh? Almost had it.
Oh, I was nowhere near it.
I was nowhere near.
I
It was.
overthought
No.
that big time.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was like thinking about all kinds of anything but werewolf. I was like, oh Jesus.
I was trying to go with the howl. Oh, no.
You would have been closer to me. I was like lone wolf, maybe. No, I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
dang. All
know.
right. Chet's done. All right.
Ted said I'm
Well,
out.
thanks
Hey,
for,
he's trying to watch that Belichick. You know.
yeah, he is. Thanks for getting on, y'all. Like,
All right.
subscribe, all that stuff. We'll talk to y'all next week.
All righty.
Jose, you're welcome
Yeah.
anytime if you're coming to
Yeah,
College
I will.
Station.
Yeah,
So
like
let
I
me
said,
know.
I will. Like I said, like the last few weeks has been real busy, so I just
Yeah.
kind of I looking for houses and all that other stuff, and then with my daughter and her DPS, and I've been helping her work on her fitness, work on her upper body strength, so that
Yeah.
she can she'll be ready. So we were out doing